correctly, you can get about 17 out of a liter bottle.
Each martini made in the traditional way, clean and simple.
It's basically just all about the vodka. Stirred and poured and served with olives or lemon twist of your choice.
When the fog season rolls around this summer, Nick Henry and San Franciscans are looking forward to Hangar One's mesh nets going up again. Jan Sluicer, San Francisco.
Ronnie Music Jr. of Waycross, Georgia, won $3 million in a scratch-off lottery game in February 2015. Prosecutors said he used the money to buy crystal meth. He's now been sentenced to 2 decades in federal prison. This is America in the Morning for Tuesday, April 4th, 2017, produced by Tom DeLack. Senior producer Kevin Delaney. I'm John Trout, and this is Westwood One News.
Do you owe more than $8,500 to the IRS? If so, we are going to give you the most important number you may ever need to end your IRS nightmare. You may have heard of the tax settlement program with the IRS. Well, the IRS will be making drastic changes which will make it more difficult to reduce your tax debt. Call Platinum Tax Defenders today to learn how you can resolve your tax nightmare before these new changes go into effect. Call 800-405-1225. 800-405-1225. 800-405-1225.
I'm Scott Tannen, founder of Boll & Branch, where you can get the world's most comfortable sheets for less than half of what you'd pay in the store. Our sheets are made from 100% organic cotton and get softer over time. Even 3 U.S. presidents have Boll & Branch sheets. Try them for 30 nights. If you don't love them, send them back for a full refund. Go to bollandbranch.com today for $50 off your first set of sheets, plus free shipping with promo code DOZE. Spelled B-O-L-L and branch.com. That's bollandbranch.com, promo code DOZE.
1080 AM, 104.1 FM, KSCO Santa Cruz, and AM 1340, KOMY La Selva Beach.
CBS News, I'm Frank Sedapani. It may not be a very strong one, but the Republican health care bill appears to have a detectable pulse. CBS's Stephen Portnoy tells us conservatives who scuttled the original Republican health care bill are considering a new version.
While President Trump and his aides have been blasting some members of the Freedom Caucus on social media, Vice President Pence huddled with the group last night. Mark Meadows is the chairman.
We're certainly encouraged by the progress that we seem to be making.
Meadows says the vice president has proposed allowing states to opt out of some of the Obamacare coverage requirements and pricing rules that have most benefited women and those with pre-existing conditions. Even if the Freedom Caucus gets on board, those changes could make the measure unpalatable to GOP moderates. Stephen Portnoy, CBS News, the White House.
Overseas, a Syrian opposition group claims that a poison gas attack in northern Syria has killed 58 people, including 11 children. CBS's Holly Williams has the latest from Istanbul.
Idlib province is a stronghold for Syrian rebels, and it's been pounded by Syrian regime and Russian airstrikes. But at this point, we cannot confirm who carried out this attack.
The number of people killed by a subway bombing in St. Petersburg, Russia, stands at 14. Sky News Russia correspondent John Sparks tells us what investigators have learned over the past 24 hours.
We heard from the intelligence agency of Kyrgyzstan, country in Central Asia, an official there saying that they believe that one of the suspects in this attack is a Kyrgyz-born Russian citizen. But I have to say that the authorities here have not confirmed that it was a suicide bombing.
Companies that might be interested in working on President Trump's border wall have been asking a lot of questions. Live to CBS's Vicki Barker.
They're not the questions a client often fields from would-be suppliers. One potential bidder asked if the government would indemnify them for using deadly force. Another wanted to know if help would be on hand should workers come under hostile attack. Today is deadline day for the first bids. As many as 10 firms will be chosen to build prototypes close to the Mexican border. And yes, there will be a buffer zone, but firms will be expected to provide their own security. Frank?
With Senate Democrats promising to filibuster Supreme Court nominee Neil Gorsuch, the next move belongs to the Republican majority. CBS's Jan Crawford tells us how it could circumvent a filibuster.
Majority Leader Mitch McConnell does decide to go nuclear and change the rules. He could formally bring up the nomination today. A final vote would be on Friday, and Judge Gorsuch would be confirmed to the Supreme Court with a simple majority.
Attorney General Jeff Sessions is asking a federal judge to delay a public hearing on a consent decree to reform the Baltimore Police Department. CBS News senior legal analyst Andrew Cohen.
There is a big disconnect here. Sessions says that the review is supposed to ensure less federal oversight of local law enforcement, but police officials in both Baltimore and Chicago, for example, the scene of some of the worst policing in the country, are saying that they want the federal consent decrees enforced.
S&P futures are down 7. This is CBS News.
Hanukkah, the German Shepherd that I rescued, was stinky, skinny, and scrawny, full of skin rashes and scratching. And I started feeding Hanukkah Dynovite, and he became such a happier, itch-free, stink-free dog that I dug deeper into the website.
DINOVITE.com.
What if, in addition to Dynovite, we do the raw beef and the egg diet and see what happens? Forget all these 50-pound bags of formulated, extruded, processed cereal bits that cost a ton of money anyways. This dog's as close to a wolf as you can get. They're carnivores. With just the raw meat and the eggs and the Dynovite and Super Omega on top of it, it just balances out his body and his mind and his spirit. It's unbelievable. Hey, if you're thinking about rescuing a dog, you got to start them out on Dynovite, DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
Good morning, everybody. It is a Tuesday. It is April the 4th, 2017, the 94th day of the year with 271 days remaining until the end of this year. Sun rises at 6:48 this morning, sunset at 7:33, giving us 12 hours and 45 minutes of daylight. The first historical record of Moscow was in 1147. Wow, I didn't realize it was that early. In London, Philip Astley staged the first modern circus in 1768. William Henry Harrison died of pneumonia, becoming the first president of the United States to die in office and setting the record for the briefest administration, and that was in 1841. Los Angeles was incorporated as a city in 1850, and Bryant Minstrel's debut Dixie in New York City was the finale of a blackface minstrel show in 1859. The Kennel Club was founded, the oldest and first official registry of purebred dogs in the world, and that was in 1973. I'm presuming that that's in the UK, although it doesn't say that. Communist Party of Panama, founded in 1930, that's exciting. United Nations Security Council Resolution 113, adopted in 1956. The CND peace symbol displayed in public for the first time in London in 1958. That was the campaign for nuclear disarmament, by the way. The Beatles occupied the top 5 positions on the Billboard Hot 100 pop chart in 1964. In 1968, Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated by James Earl Ray at a motel in Memphis, Tennessee. NASA launched Apollo 6, also in 1968, and in 1973, the World Trade Center in New York was officially dedicated. A Space Shuttle Challenger made its maiden voyage into space in 1983, and in 1984, President Ronald Reagan called for an international ban on chemical weapons. And those are some of the things that happened on this date in history. Well, we've got a little bit to chat about Miss Tickleman in the news. Tickle Me Elmo. Yes, she is in the news, as is Ice, and it's certainly a very interesting story. I like to follow through a little bit on the Food Not Bombs thing that's been discussion that has been continuing on here and everywhere else. Apparently everyone's talking about it as well. An eating contest didn't go so well for one of the participants.
I'm confused. We're not talking about SLV water?
We are. We'll be hopefully talking with Barry Holtzclaw later in the program. But yes, I was unable to go to the meeting, but I do have the results, so I can give them to you prudently, and then we can get into the details later in the program. because I'm smiling. 7 minutes past 6. This is Good Morning Monterey Bay. I'm Rosie Chalmers. Here's Rick with your King of the Hill traffic update.
Northbound 1, no delays right now between Watsonville and Santa Cruz. Highway 17 overnight roadwork is being picked up between 5:30 and 6. Just now starting, though, on southbound 17. Paso Tiempo off-ramp from South 17 will be closed until 2 o'clock this afternoon due to some emergency roadwork. Again, Paso Tiempo off-ramp from South 17 closed until 2 o'clock today. 101 northbound, heavy from Gilroy into Morgan Hill. Everything picks up just beyond Cochran Road towards Monterey. South 1 at the limit, as is westbound 68. Your weather outlook today, we're looking at plenty of sunshine. Highs today ranging from the middle 60s around the Monterey and Carmel area, ranging to the mid-70s at the coast in Santa Cruz, to the middle 80s in places like Boulder Creek, King City, and Gilroy. We'll stay pleasant again tomorrow, then we'll quickly cool off on Thursday, bringing in mostly cloudy and rainy conditions on Friday and part of Saturday. This portion of Good Morning Monterey Bay brought to you by the Santa Cruz Lions Club. People just like you found their pride in servicing their community. Find your pride and lots of friends by serving your community with the local Lions Club. Find your pride at go.centralcoastlions.com. Website again is go.centralcoastlions.com. With your local news, here's Tavia Avila.
Thank you, Rick, and good morning, Monterey Bay. Hollister police officers are investigating a shooting that took place in their city yesterday afternoon. The 1 p.m. incident took place on the 500 block of San Benito Street. No injuries were reported, but some property was damaged. A woman who was involved in the death of a Google executive on board his boat in the Santa Cruz harbor has been arrested by ICE agents. Susan Simon reports.
Alex Tickleman, also known as the Harbor Hooker and the Call Girl Killer, was arrested by ICE agents when she was released from Santa Cruz County Jail. Tickleman, who is Canadian, is now in federal custody. For KSCO, this is Susan Simon.
Recent drownings on the Central Coast are reminders the ocean can be quite dangerous. The director of O'Neill Sea Odyssey, Dan Hafley, reminds both residents and visitors to be mindful of their surroundings and to never let their guard down around the ocean.
What people don't realize, you look at the water and you think, oh, it can't be any more than a bathtub. But in fact, it is the ocean. It has a lot of power. It has more power than we do. And people can die. And that was a very tragic situation. So you have to be very careful, go in with a buddy, have an escape route, be able to know if there's an undertow or if there's sneaker waves or if otherwise you can get in trouble out there. Just really be careful.
Hafley says ocean conditions are often unpredictable and can change minute by minute. The Veterans Job Fair will be held this Thursday. Those planning on attending are welcome to submit their resumes for review today from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Veterans Building. Veterans are also welcome to participate in mock interviews tomorrow from 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. The Veterans Building is located at 846 Front Street in downtown Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz CHP officers will be hosting a fundraiser for Special Olympics of Northern California. The Tip a Cop benefit will be held at Chili's restaurant in Capitola. All of the tips raised will go directly to Special Olympics of Northern California. The event will be at Chili's restaurant located at the Capitola Mall tomorrow from 6 to 8 p.m. This is Tavia Avila for KSCO Radio News.
To see the greatness of the Paro Valley, look to those in agriculture who donate fresh fruits and vegetables for second harvest to distribute to children, families, seniors, and veterans. Hello, folks. I am Willie from the Food Bank, and I would like to introduce you to the farmers who donate so generously.
Garrett Farms, Garoot Farms, H. Harney Jr., Happy Boy Farms,
Heart Mountain Farms,
High Ground Organics,
J&C Farming,
J&J Farms,
JAL Berry Farms,
J.E. Farms,
Jacobs Farm Del Cabo,
Jertberg Strawberries,
Ken's Produce Company,
Kitayama Brothers,
Lakeside Organic Gardens,
Live Earth Farm,
Maripa Berry Farms, Miyashita Nursery.
Monterey Mushrooms.
A. Nagamini Nursery.
When you meet them, thank them for all they do to help us provide food to those in need. And by the way, you can help too. Just go to thefoodbank.org.
If you love cats, if you love dogs, or horses, pigs, birds, or frogs, there's a lot of ways to help if you're sincere. With a little bit of money, or you can volunteer. You'll save a life when you adopt. You're just getting started. Please don't stop. Right here on the Monterey Bay, you can save some critters with the SPCAs. Open up your home, donate a car, or pull some bucks from your small change jar. Give a little love, share a little time, save a little life, gain peace of mind. All the SPCAs of Monterey Bay.
You're listening to KSCO, serving Aromas, the Carmel Highlands, and Paraiso Springs.
It is 14 minutes past the hour of 6 a.m. You know, if it's dark where you are, like not a lot of ambient light, look up and look west. You'll see a very bright Jupiter, as Mark Mosina told us yesterday. I was looking at it this morning. It's really very cool. You can see it because it's brighter than the rest. It's pretty obvious. So we'll go over this very briefly now, but we're going to be having someone joining us later on in the program to talk about it. I was unable to get to the meeting last night, unfortunately, at the San Lorenzo Valley Water District. It was standing room only. Absolutely packed to the gills with interested individuals who cared to show up. They held a meeting before the public meeting to determine what the direction was going to be from the board of directors, whether they were going to continue to pursue the case and pay the charges for Terry Vieira, an ex-board member of the San Lorenzo Valley Board District of the Water District, concerning a purchase of a home on Rebecca Drive that Mr. Vieira and his wife benefited from because he was the realtor involved with this, or at least he's a part of the business with his wife, who is the realtor. Mr. Vieira, someone had told me he's a multimillionaire. I don't know if he is, but I do know he owns a liquor store. He had said that it was not a conflict of interest, that the property was sold to the water department. They used it for what they needed and then they sold it again. And he said, a local individual in a retired Silicon Valley engineer suit said it was a conflict of interest, and so the case began. And that was where we were at, was the fact that the judge had already said, no, this isn't going to work. No, it's a problem. No. So then they tried again. The judge said, no, this is a problem. It's not going to work. When they came in here to the building, we talked about it, and I asked them just how far they were willing to go to put the money on the backs of the ratepayers, one of whom is me. And they said they weren't really sure. Well, last night, they were really sure. Due to public pressure, due to pressure from us here at KSCO, due to terrific pressure by Barry Holtzclaw, a writer for the Scotts Valley Banner, due to terrific pressure from the Scotts Valley Watchdogs, and due to terrific pressure at the end of the day from the ratepayers themselves who showed up last night, Eric Hammer put forward, he was seconded by Bill Smallman, to drop the thing in its entirety. It passed 5-0. So they are not going to pursue this anymore. What this does show you, ladies and gentlemen, and me, is that we do have the power to direct people as they should be doing. The oversight was the public, and in this case the media, with a newspaper, local newspaper and a local radio station putting the pressure on. And so I will give you the quote from Jean Ratcliffe, who is the Water Board president, said yesterday, the district provided a defense for Terry Vieira. Now that a legal decision has been rendered and reaffirmed by the judge, the district's obligation is complete. She could have said that here 2 weeks ago, but chose not to, but that's okay. So They're not doing anything. They're not going to pay anything. All of the money now, all of the bills, except for 2 months of legal fees, fall into Terry Vieira's lap. So that's what the situation is. It's a big win for the ratepayers. We need Mr. Lee, the general manager, and his staff to look at the water department and run the water department and stop getting involved in these things. And I'm glad that the board realised that this is what the public wanted. This is what the ratepayers wanted. And now this is what the ratepayers have. And for that, we thank them very much for making the vote. A little bit late here, ladies and gentlemen, but they did do the right thing. So we'll see what happens as we continue on. Quote, despite the district's admission that this was a conflict of interest, that they knew about the conflict of interest, that they received regular training to prevent conflict of interest, they displayed no interest whatsoever in correcting or stopping their fellow board member from profiting from that conflict of interest. And that is from Gary Redenbacher, who is a Scotts Valley attorney, and the request that the $101,583 will be added to Vieira's judgment will be heard in court on May 17th. But we are out of it, as well we should be. We should never have been in it in the first place, and yeah, they better get on and they best learn what the rules are in concerning the Brown Act, what conflict of interest is, and what it isn't. But very, very happy with the results this morning, and it's just exactly how it should have been, except we should never have allowed it to get this far. So we'll see what happens in the ongoing future here with the water department. So, kind of cool stuff, huh?
There you go. Where's the next fight?
Dunno. I'll let you know.
You brought up a lot of water, though, because he brought up ice, brought up the harbor.
Well, ice, yes. So, Alex Tickleman, the heroin addict and prostitute. How nice to have that in your name. Heroin addict and prostitute. Anyway.
Oh, they just went alphabetical order.
They did. She,
Zoologist, was just too far down the list.
Proctologist also. Oh, no, because that would have come up in advance of prostitute.
That would have been under anal. Don't worry about
it. Anyway, you know who I feel so sorry for in this whole thing?
His kids.
Yeah. His 5 children.
How old are they now?
I don't know.
They moved, right?
Yeah, they did. I know that one got married when all of this was going on with the Tickleman case, which was very, very unfortunate and very sad. But she has dual citizenship. Mm-hmm. Alex Tickleman, she is both Canadian and United States. And so, of course, she was known as the Harbor Hooker, which is also a particularly fabulous name. She was found guilty, felony involuntary manslaughter. She gave drugs to a 51-year-old Google exec who promptly died, and she, being the callous and cold-hearted, uncaring woman that she is. Oh, sorry, that's right. Her attorney said that she was her actions were diminished because she was on heroin. Of course. So sorry, I do apologize for that.
Like that. He didn't mean to drink and drive. He was just so inebriated, he drove.
Yes.
He wasn't thinking.
No, he wasn't thinking.
You can't blame him. You got to blame the alcohol.
Nor was she. So she was apparently a month after she was sentenced in 2015. ICE sent a hold for her, and on March 27th of this year, apparently the Santa Cruz County Sheriff Sergeant Clark said ICE requested we detain her for 24 hours longer than her sentence. ICE agents were on hand at 5 a.m. when Tickleman was released, said Clark. And this is, of course, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement. And we're waiting to see if she's going to be sent out of the country. But the question is, she's an American citizen. She's an American citizen. So can she be sent away? She's
not going to be free wherever she goes.
No, she'll always have this hanging around her neck for the rest of her life, whether it's, being on some crap TV show or being in some crap magazine. But the question is, if she's an American, how can they deport her? Can they only deport half of her? Because, she has dual citizenship?
I don't know.
Yeah. So she served nearly 2 years. It's not much, is it, for that? To me anyway. He clutched his chest and lost consciousness. She just cleared up the drugs, closed the blinds, and finished her wine. I always thought that was like the final exclamation point of that particular story, was the way that she finished her glass of wine before she left, cleaning everything up after that man is there and he's dead or dying. But anyway, 7 minutes, by the way. Oh, it was red wine, not white, sorry. Red. Don't know where it was from. And 7 minutes she was in there after he died, stepping over him with her glass of wine in hand. Such a lovely girl. Sure, her parents just adore her.
We're approaching her birthday.
When's her birthday?
She'll turn the dirty 30 there, April 8th.
Oh, well, she may not get out of jail in time to celebrate her birthday. Well, she's had a couple in jail already, so she probably knows just exactly how it is. But the Public Affairs Officer James Schwab from ICE said his office is preparing a press release that will address the specifics of Tickleman's detention. And he said he could not address her immigration status until the department's legal team was consulted. Surely they've consulted the legal team before this started? Wouldn't you think? They know that it's a high-profile case simply for the salaciousness of the case. They know that they're going to go in there and bust her. They know that she's got citizenship for both here and Canada. Don't you think they would have talked to somebody first before saying, yes, that's right, later we'll send you a press release when we know what we're doing, and later we'll let you know what we're doing from legal affairs? Why didn't they get this stuff done in the first place and just get it over with? Anyway.
Alex Tickleman looks a lot like Alex Voss from Orange is the New Black.
Does she?
Yeah.
I'm sure that there are going to be a ton of offers of work for this woman. And as I say...
so the idea is she's going to be free in Canada?
She'll be free wherever she goes. She's served her sentence. She's done her time.
Wasn't the big issue here that he wasn't like asleep and she stuck the needle in his arm? Yeah, she prepared it, but he injected himself?
No, she injected him.
But he was, at the time, conscious and...
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So,
So I wonder what her jail sentence would have been had she just called 911 and reported an overdose.
Very good question. Very good question.
Because 99.9% of her illegal activity took place after he was unconscious / dead.
Yeah, she shot herself up first, and then she consensually injected it into his arm. When Mr. Hayes clutched his chest and lost consciousness, Tickleman just coolly cleared evidence of the drug use, closed the blinds, because God forbid anybody should see a dead man on his boat. He was laying unconscious and dying. And then 7 minutes, it says the video shows her in the cabin for 7 minutes after Hayes' death, stepping over him with a glass of red wine in her hand. Don't we have the rule here in this county or in this state of ours that if somebody, you have to render aid to somebody who is in need of it? Isn't that the law of the land here in California?
I don't know. I know that's what did in the Seinfeld characters. But I don't know how real that is.
I think it is. I think you do have to render aid. But anyway, so we'll see what happens when ICE actually has the time to write a press release. Because, by golly, you certainly wouldn't want to have a public affairs guy who hadn't written a press release, would you? Come on now. And then they'll talk to the legal team of ICE, and then the rest of us will know what the future holds for... Well, we won't know what the future holds, but I'm sure that we will see her pop up some kind of... She'll probably be on Dancing with the Stars, as opposed to Dancing Behind Bars. I don't know.
I do want to have on a legal expert with respect to aid. First responders are protected. If I'm choking and you provide CPR and you crack my rib and I die, you're protected by...
Fair enough.
Yeah. So at what point, You know, you can pass by somebody starving on the street, no problem. You can pass by someone on the street who is in desperate need of help, no problem. At what point are you obligated?
I don't know.
If someone's choking and you're the only one around and you don't do anything?
Well, if you don't know how to do anything, then can you be blamed?
Isn't like bad CPR better than nothing?
Sure.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, I would think anything is helpful. Certainly making the individual know that they're being cared for. But yeah, she was particularly hard-hearted, Hannah, about that one, that's for sure. I know that's not her name, it's Alex, but it's just a line, you know. You know, and if we're going to see Tickleman...
Was that the first time that
No.
he had ever tried drugs?
No, well, all we know is it's the first time that they had met before.
Was it?
Yes, they had met before. It wasn't their first meeting.
Oh, correct. Okay.
And the fact that it was consensual, well, I don't know. Do you just carry enough for yourself, heroin, or do you carry enough to share with friends when you're a prostitute? I don't know the answer to that question, having, you know, not been involved, really, fortunately for me. I don't know. Yeah, he said, come on over to my yacht and bring some of that so we can...
God, if you're going to dabble, why do you jump to that?
I've no idea. I've no idea at all. But I have a little story that I will get to when we come back at the bottom here. But I have a story about a guy who drove across country non-stop. And he couldn't do it without the drugs. And it's an absolutely frightening story. Holy cow. 6:29. This is Good Morning Monterey Bay. Here's Rick with your King of the Hill traffic update.
Northbound 1 still looking good from Watsonville up to Santa Cruz. Do now have some pockets of slow traffic on Highway 17, starting right at the restaurants at the top of the hill. And then just north of that, there's reports of a spin out in the southbound direction of Highway 17 at, you guessed it, Big Moody. Northbound, though, traffic will be cleared through Los Gatos and Campbell. There will be an off-ramp closed, or there is currently an off-ramp closed. 17 southbound. The Paso Tiempo off-ramp will be closed until 2 o'clock today because of emergency repairs. Right now, 101 northbound looking good from San Martin to Morgan Hill. Everything is clear next to Cochran Road. Highway 101 is heavy from East Capitol up to the airport just north of Trimble. South 1 to Monterey clear. West 68 stall and accident-free. Weather today, partly cloudy skies. Plenty of warmth out there. We're going to have about a 15, pushing 20-degree range in temperatures today. Monterey will be the low at 64. Boulder Creek the high at 84. Santa Cruz will be at 75. Watsonville 73. Gilroy and King City both at 81. 82 today for San Jose. Will cool off through the rest of the week, bringing in rain on Friday and part of Saturday. Weather outlook today. Highs, again, 60s to the low and middle 80s. Right now, 44 at KSCO Studios here in Santa Cruz. At 6:30, time for local news. Here's Tavia Avila.
Thank you, Rick. A woman who was involved in the death of a Google executive on board his boat in the Santa Cruz harbor has been arrested by ICE agents. Alex Tickleman, also known as a harbor hooker and the call girl killer, was arrested by ICE agents when she was released from the Santa Cruz County Jail. Tickleman, who is a Canadian, is now in federal custody. A man was injured over the weekend when his boat suffered engine failure out at sea. According to the Coast Guard, it could take several days to get the 30-foot boat off Moss Landing State Beach. The boat's driver suffered a shoulder injury in the incident, but has since been released from the hospital. One person was airlifted to an area trauma center over the weekend after he suffered burns in a vehicle fire. The 11 a.m. incident, which occurred on Saniga Road in Hollister, also sparked a small brush fire Saturday. Firefighters were able to douse the blaze before it spread. A 19-year-old man was arrested early Saturday for road rage. The incident took place just after midnight on Monterey Road, just north of San Martin, when Soledad resident Alexandra Monzon fired several shots at another vehicle. Monzon was also found to be wanted on a nearly $5 million warrant out of Monterey County. He was booked into Santa Clara County Jail. The Veterans Job Fair will be held this Thursday. Those planning on attending are welcome to submit their resumes for review today from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Veterans Building. Veterans are also welcome to participate in mock interviews tomorrow from 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. The Veterans Building is located at 846 Front Street in downtown Santa Cruz. This is Tavia Avila for KSCO Radio News.
Everyone, this is Meg over at Ben Lomond Market, wishing you a happy spring, and to let you know about some sales we have currently going on in the meat department. Fresh red snapper, $8.99 a pound. Freshwater king salmon, $16.99 a pound. Ribeyes, USDA choice, $11.99 a pound. Boneless pork chops, $2.99 a pound. Grass-fed ground beef, $6.49 a pound. And Mary's whole fryers at $2.79 a pound, just to mention a few. A little taste of sunshine is going on in the produce department. Big Joe has 2 pounds of strawberries at $2.99 each. Blackberries and blueberries, 2 baskets for $5 each. Raspberries, $2.99. Large cantaloupes, 2 for $3. Golden nugget tangerines at $1.69 a pound. So right there you got a beautiful and refreshing fruit salad. Easy. Organics, 1 pound strawberries, $3.99 each. Bartlett pears at $1.69 a pound. And 4-pound bag navel oranges, $4.49 a bag. And thank you for shopping with us at Ben Lomond Market.
Recently on the Charles Friedman Show.
What a speech. What a fantastic presentation. I knew right at the start, this is going to be something that we can all be proud of. It's going to be something that will set a different tone. Why did I know that? Because the first words out of Donald Trump's mouth were an observation of Black History Month, a denunciation of desecrations of Jewish graves, and a call for unity among Americans. In other words, an absolute head-on response to the narrative that his enemies have been spinning, that Donald Trump is a messenger of hate, a messenger of division, a messenger of intolerance, a messenger of homophobia, xenophobia, racism, etc. All of that fell to the ground last night to anybody who listened with open ears and an open mind to President Trump.
Don't miss the Charles Friedman Show, weekdays, noon to 2 on KSCO or anytime on the KSCO mobile app.
Are all your computer problems mission impossible? Tune in to the next hour local radio show when Luigi Opido from Pleasure Point Computers will cover all Is Your Computer Being Breached questions Wednesday, 7 p.m. right here on KSCO.
This promo will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
You devote yourself to an ideal, committed to keeping you informed. You become something else entirely.
The best hope
News
for peace in our
traffic, weather,
increasingly freezing,
sports, market reports.
Rates will be going up.
Where are you?
One station.
With that big sound, it's gotta be KSCO.
KSCO, Santa Cruz, Santa Cruz, Santa Cruz.
If you thought that Tom Perez, the new Democrat National Committee chairman, would lead his party as a responsible adult, bad news, you were wrong. I never thought he would anyway. Last Friday, Perez spoke to a crowd in Newark, New Jersey. He worked the crowd into a frenzy. He shouted, "Donald Trump, you don't stand for our values. You didn't win the election." And there was more. But let's stop right there. If Donald Trump didn't win the election, who did? I don't see Bernie Sanders signing executive orders in the Oval Office, and we certainly don't see Hillary Clinton leading the liberal pantsuit brigade from the White House. Now, Perez went on to call Trump a bully and told his audience that Trump doesn't give a about people. The drive-by media is reporting that Perez gave a fiery speech. It wasn't fiery. It was vulgar, it was ignorant, it was low rent and hateful from a guy, remember, who was Obama's labor secretary. Now, for those of you who keep demanding a truce in our politics, I hope you're listening very carefully here. What came out of Tom Perez's mouth ought to be a lesson to you. There is no working with these people. There's no room for compromise. And there's no possibility of civil discourse. They are deranged. They are driven by hate and rage. They're consumed by it. Their defeat is the only thing we can do. This is going to sound like a horror story, but for some people, it's a reality. Imagine, you head to the mailbox after doing your taxes. You reach in, you think you're going to get your tax refund, only to find that somebody's already filed and gotten your return. Identity thieves can use your personal information to file for your refund or commit other forms of ID theft. Now, last year, the IRS identified approximately $4.1 billion in suspected tax refund fraud due to ID theft. Now, thankfully, there's LifeLock. With LifeLock, you have access to a team of U.S.-based specialists who know the steps to take to fix identity issues, whether it happens during tax season or any other time. Of course, no one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions in all businesses, but nobody is better than LifeLock. Join now and get 10% off when you visit lifelock.com/rush. That's lifelock.com/rush, or call 1-800-440-4833 and use the promo code RUSH.
Who's the man? Huh? Who's the man? Come to mama.
The man versus the women.
She is a woman.
I am a woman. Not like me.
Something which you are not.
You know everything because you're a man.
She's good.
Come on.
She's very good.
Challenge the women.
Throw the switch and let us begin the battle. The battle of the sexes.
Let the battle begin.
Ding, ding. Okay, we have two apiece. It is Tuesday, and I will go first. I've got one really brilliant question here. The first one. The first organized game of baseball was played in Hoboken, New Jersey, in which year? 1849, 1889, or 1919?
I should know. Organized, I'm going to say 1889.
1849. It's pretty early.
Some of the first pirate flags were what color? White, green, or red?
Green.
Red.
Pooh. Which country sells the most board games? That is B-O-A-R-D.
Yeah.
And not E-D. United States, Germany, or Iceland?
Okay.
Okay, here
By
we go.
size.
Let's go with the logic.
By size, you think
Size matters.
America. But Americans are always on their phone, on the computer, playing games outside. Germans, very rigid, very stubborn. You know, their idea of fun is to cross their eyes for 3 seconds at a time. Board games are pretty boring, so they seem very German. Rules, pieces, oh, you've broken the rules, you go to jail, you know. However, pretty cold in Iceland. But the family sizes are small.
Now you've had a sociological history of these three countries. What is your answer?
Germany.
It is Germany. You cheated.
I did not cheat. It makes the most sense. They love to follow rules. They're not spontaneous. They're as spontaneous as Yahtzee.
It's your go.
I know. I'm just relishing.
Get him some relish, everybody, to go with his hot dog.
What is the most common gift on Father's Day? Neckties, tools, or sports equipment?
It can't be ties. I've never given a Father's Day gift. Oh, no, that's not true. I did. From the pig to JB, I would give him Father's Day gifts, but nothing of those three things. Ties, tools, or sports equipment? Ties.
It is ties. Small nooses.
Yeah, really. Although when they're well done, they look great.
Whenever you're ready.
Oh, that's right. It's my turn.
Oh, man.
I was just pondering this because it's a really good question. Which male animal does a handstand to urinate on trees in order to mark their territory?
I'm jealous, whatever it is.
And I've dated this guy.
Interesting.
A red panda, a giant panda, or a honey badger?
I was gonna go kangaroo. That seems like something a marsupial would do. Okay, so I have to answer Panda just because it's two possible ones. So it's red or giant. I'll go with red for no reason.
Giant. Because it's bigger, it's higher.
Is that on video?
I don't have it on video of a giant panda doing a handstand peeing on a tree, but I bet you can find it on YouTube. Why? Because it's YouTube. So you got one right.
Okay. You have a final question here.
Okay.
What is the second most favorite pizza topping? Sausage, black olives, mushrooms.
It's not black olives. It's either sausage or what was the last one?
Mushroom.
Or mushrooms. I'll go with mushrooms.
It is. Although pepperoni mushroom, that should be the only pizza anybody's allowed to ever have.
So I got 2, so that's 4.
You know those Pizza My Heart commercials with this local surfer Wingnut?
Yes.
And he's sitting on a beach?
Yes.
And the ad says best pizza from the International Pizza Fair.
Yes.
Whatever it was.
Yeah.
Have you ever read the fine print on that?
No.
The category they won was most unorthodox, essentially. Most unique. Most obscure.
That's okay.
Of course, you don't say that.
No, you don't.
But that's great marketing.
Very
Win
clever.
an award for something that nobody really gives a two you-know-what's about. Because let's be honest, winning an award for the most unique pizza, that's a blue ribbon at the end of American sports. That's the everyone gets a prize. We just feel bad that you threw all these crazy, maniacal toppings on there. We'll give you an award. And now forget the category, because it bugs me.
No, I know.
Because they make it seem like it's, we just won the best head-to-head cheese pizza. Us versus Italy versus all of Europe. We won. No, you didn't. You threw a bunch of vegetables and fruit on there, got an award, and then scrubbed out the category and just left the award.
I'm looking for a commercial.
I've forgotten because you so rudely treated our listener from yesterday.
No, I didn't.
She said, I'm on my deathbed, and before I go, I want to hear this ad. And Rosie was like, nope, on to traffic. Here's our ad.
If you're swinging, if you're boating, if you're pitching, if you're floating, you need Nestle's Quicken Milk this summer. If you're training, if you're racing, try the drink that's really bracing. It's Nestle's Quicken Milk this summer.
Delicious chocolatey Quick makes the most wonderful energy drink. Gives you all the health of milk plus Quick's own vitamins and iron. Never sticky sweet, so it really quenches thirst. Get cool, get a great chocolatey treat, and get lots of energy builders.
Take a tip from all us bright kids. It's the drink that's really right, kids. Ask for Nestle's Quicken Milk this summer. Oh, N-D-S-T-L-E-S, Nestle's makes the very best chocolate.
That's a very annoying commercial.
Aren't you glad you interrupted the flow just for that?
I've
been given a green
green tea
Kit Kat, which I've never had before, so let's try that next.
Yeah, we will.
Huh.
We will. And we've got lots to chat about. It is 6:46. Here's Rick with your traffic.
North 1, traffic starting to slow down in Aptos, coming up from Larkin Valley Road up to Freedom Boulevard will be heavy. Beyond that, everything is clear to the Fishhook. 17 slowing down, though, right at the top of the hill, and then again approaching Big Moody Curve. Take it easy there on the backside of the hill. Do have an off-ramp closed on South 17 today. Pasadiembo Drive from South 17 is closed right now for emergency work. It'll reopen at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Northbound 101, heavy in Morgan Hill, and again from East Capitol through the airport. No delays on South 1 to Monterey. West 68 slows down a little bit at Toro Park, and there will be some traffic today. Not so much on South Davis, but on Blanco and Pocket through Cooper Road. Your weather outlook sunny and warm. 60s around Monterey, 70s at the coast in Santa Cruz, low and middle 80s over the hill. Outside KSCO studios, it is 44 degrees.
Hi, registered pharmacist Ben Fuchs here. I've been studying healthy bodies for 35 years, and what I've got to tell you may shock and surprise you, but if you listen up, it may change your life. Shrimp and lobsters make their own anti-inflammatory molecules. In a press release posted by the College of Medicine at Florida Atlantic University, officials announced that they had received a grant to investigate just how the marine medicine could be used to eliminate inflammatory diseases in humans. The chemical that's at the center of attention is called chitin, and it's a key constituent of the shells of various ocean animals, and as it turns out, chitin has powerful anti-inflammatory properties. Chitin is made up of repeating units of glucose to which it owes its interesting medicinal properties. Actually, chitin isn't made up of any old glucose. It's a specialty glucose that has a little chunk of amino acid attached to it. This little proteinaceous piece turns the ordinarily one-trick pony glucose into glucosamine, a sort of superglucose that provides structure and support for everything from bones to butterfly wings and has therapeutic properties to boot. You can get your glucosamine from foods, especially homemade chicken soup. The knobby cartilage on chicken bones is a great source and contains other substances like amino acids and chondroitin and collagen that can all contribute joint health benefits. You can bump up the glucosamine content of your soup by putting shrimp shells in a little tea ball and letting them steep in the soup. Make sure you throw in some lime or some lemon because you need a little acid to dissolve the glucosamine. Aloe is also a good source of glucosamine, and so is noni. Algae and spirulina, great sources of everything nutritional, also contain appreciable amounts of glucosamine. Pharmacist Ben here, urging you to go to kscohealth.com to order Beyond Tangy Tangerine, the Healthy Start Pack, and other nutritional supplements that I personally use and recommend. You can purchase these premium quality products at wholesale prices online at kscohealth.com. That's kscohealth.com. I'm the pharmacist that believes that staying healthy and strong is not only about medicine, it's about giving your body the raw materials it needs to do its work. Go to kscohealth.com. Make sure you check out the cool videos, too, at kscohealth.com. That's kscohealth.com.
You're listening to KSCO, serving Scotts Valley, Gonzales, and New Hydra.
You know, we were talking a little bit earlier about Alex Tickleman likely being in some kind of TV show. They're saying that when, who's that jerk, O.J. Simpson, when he comes out, that he's going to be doing a reality TV show. I just hope none of you watch it. None of you. Not a single one.
Mm-hmm.
I know I won't.
A lot of companies, before we get to the Kit Kats, priorities, murderers, and now let's talk a little advertising. A lot of companies get flack when their commercials or when their products air next to news and information that's rather unpleasant.
Yes.
And Alex Tickleman and O.J. Simpson came to mind because you know that there's going to be a big protest if, say, one of those people ends up on any sort of show. That first commercial is going to get a lot of hate.
Yep.
A lot of that stuff is automated in something called programmatic advertising.
Okay.
This is why when you search for new shoes for the next couple weeks, you're going to get boot sales left and right on your computer. That's programmatic advertising. So essentially, back in the day, you used to have an ad on a billboard, ad in a newspaper, ad in a radio station. We're talking, 100 years ago.
Yes.
And you'd get all these eyeballs. But the problem is, it's not targeted. So if you have a hearing aid ad and you're up on, say, Ocean Street, Ocean, who owns that billboard up there, just above Scotts Valley?
I'm not sure.
I was used to call it the Ocean billboard just because I think when I was a kid, there used to be a lot of Ocean Honda ads.
Yeah.
Even though they're kind of new, so I don't know where that came from.
Yeah.
Anyway,
single billboard.
Let's say that's a hearing aid billboard.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, 10,000 people every couple hours see the billboard, but it's only going to matter to people who are maybe in their 60s, 70s, 80s, people who can't hear. So instead of advertising to everybody, advertise specifically to the people who maybe search through Google that they're losing their hearing or deafness or tinnitus. That's programmatic advertising because you're advertising to people who have already expressed an interest. So using a really kind of benign example, well, maybe not benign, let's say Mountain Dew advertises on commercials, advertises on every Google search relating to mountains.
Yes.
But then you had an Argentinian football team whose plane crashed into the mountain. Those keywords are likely going to trigger an advertisement.
Oh, I see what you mean. Oh,
so
that's
it's not as if companies are cruel and malicious in that way. Sometimes it's just an unfortunate accident involving news and keywords.
It'll be interesting to see in both cases, both her and him, what happens to them as they move down the road following their celebrity, which is, his is much worse than hers. I don't know. She's pretty bad. Today's...
Oh, I'd be worried. Hey, here's your partner, Alex Zuckerman. I've never heard of her. Give me her resume. Oh, well, take a seat. Like, nope, I'm out.
Pick a number.
Pass.
Yeah, no, really.
So I really quickly.
Yes.
If you were to blindfold me and give me this Kit Kat.
I would have known immediately it wasn't a real Kit Kat.
Well, yes, I would have known it wasn't chocolate, but I would not have known it was green tea. I probably would have guessed cookies and cream.
I didn't care for it at all.
Oh, it's fine. See, this is where you're not yet an American.
I am an American.
Any chocolate's good chocolate to us.
No, that's not.
Oh, yeah.
Well, green tea, that's not chocolate, is it? It's green tea.
It's green tea flavored chocolate. It kind of looks like marijuana butter a little bit.
I know, it does. I was wondering about that, if Carol was handing out free reefer around the building.
What I appreciate about the Japanese
Yes?
is that I feel like if this size were sold in America, it would say some odd calorie number, like too round of a number.
Yes.
I love it when things say, oh, this has 202 calories. I believe you.
Is that what it says?
65.
Oh, okay. Well,
calories spelled with a K. K-cals.
K-cals.
3%.
So it's Ben & Jerry Day. If you know where there's a Ben & Jerry's, you can go and get a freebie today if you want. Or you could have done what a woman in Fairfield, Connecticut did. 20-year-old college student died after choking in a pancake eating contest.
Wow.
3 days after she was in that contest.
What did that have to do with Ben & Jerry's?
Well, it's just Ben & Jerry's.
Because now I can't bring up Ben & Jerry's because now someone died.
Well, no, Ben & Jerry's is it's free today.
Well, I know, but I was going to give you some facts, but I can't now.
But there aren't any facts. It's free. You just go to Ben & Jerry's and get a freebie.
Where's the nearest one around here?
I have no idea.
See, I would have told you, but now we're talking about some dead chick, and I can't ethically go back to ice creams.
So when this woman was majoring in social work. She was when she started choking on the contest. In the contest,
she choked on the contest.
Literally, 2 nursing students. They began to save her life, and they were joined by police officers and paramedics. And get this, I just can't believe how the rest of her family must feel. Her mum and anybody else in her family. Her dad, James Nelson, was a police officer who was killed in the September 11th attack in Manhattan. He died whilst trying to rescue people trapped in the World Trade Center. And now his 20-year-old daughter has died choking in a pancake eating contest.
Well, now I can absolutely not bring up ice cream. Not only is there a dead lady, but you brought up 9/11. You cannot turn back now. Be like, I just won the lottery in 9/11 news.
Okay, no, this is out of...
See? Moving forward.
We are moving forward here. We have been talking about...
How old was she?
20.
And this was a college thing?
It was just in a store. It was a pancake eating competition.
Eating contests benefit no one. Like, when you've
Except
won...
the winner, Joey Chestnut.
Because you're judged to no end. I mean, Chestnut's actually unique. Same with Kobayashi, because they were actually kind of fit guys. Kobayashi much more so than Joey Chestnut. But when you just get a normal eating contest, that benefits nobody.
That's correct.
Especially when you have to do it in public.
Yeah.
Didn't you have a pie eating contest, or are you just pie judging?
Pie judging. I've never been in a food contest. I wouldn't do that. That's stupid. Really stupid. To me. So we have been talking these last few days, because it's been in the news, about Food Not Bombs, and about the fact that they are feeding people by the post office, and now there are people defecating there and peeing there and passing out there, and now they've got rats there because of the food, and everyone's arguing, coming and going and coming and going and coming and going. In San Francisco, a guy bought a friend of his pizza for her birthday. And he took it to a bus stop. Now, you're not allowed to eat on Muni, but a very little-known law says you're not allowed to eat at a bus stop, and a cop gave him a ticket. It was a homeless senior, who brought his citation to the homeless outreach workers last week. And a police officer cited the man after he was observed eating pizza at a bus shelter. So there you have it. This person should just come down to the post office, the main post office here in Santa Cruz, and you won't get a ticket. The food will be vegan, but you'll get free food. Isn't that incredible that somebody gave them a ticket? I very much doubt that the man is going to do anything with the ticket, and Muni hasn't got anything to say about it. I understand why they don't want them eating on the bus, but you can't stand at a bus stop and eat food?
I'm trying to wrap my head around the escalation of the last 5 minutes of the show. Free ice cream, death of pancakes, 9/11.
Yes.
And then homeless veteran eating pizza.
Yep. That's how it is. Okay, now we can get to the trucker. I'm not sure. I haven't got the time to talk about the trucker. No, we'll do traffic.
I have no idea. I'm completely lost. I'm totally lost.
Obviously you are, because you think we're going to the news. But at
traffic is news.
58 minutes. 58 past 6. Here's Rick with your traffic.
North 1. Things are going to be heavy getting through Aptos, Larkin Valley Road, and pockets up to Park Avenue is slow. After that, no delays getting through the Fishhook. 17 looking good through Los Gatos and Campbell currently. 101 is heavy in Morgan Hill. As clears up just before Cochrane Road. South 1 to Monterey. At the limit, West 68 slows down between Portola and Corral de Tierra. Leaving Salinas will be slow on both South Davis and Blanco up to Armstrong. The weather outlook today, sunny and warm. Highs, cool in the Monterey area. Pretty common there. Mid-60s from Monterey, Pacific Grove, Carmel. Mid-70s in Santa Cruz. Mid-80s for the San Lorenzo Valley. Upper 70s and low 80s then from San Jose down to King City. We'll enjoy this for the next couple of days, and then a huge shift on Thursday and Friday. Friday, you might wake up to temperatures in the 30s again.
Blimey, there'll be snow then. If we're going to have rain and it's going to be in the 30s.
It'll be chilly.
Oh, here it comes again. You're listening to AM 1080 KSCO, Santa Cruz, Salinas, Monterey, San Jose, and 104.1 FM.
New life for healthcare plan.
We're certainly encouraged by the progress we seem to be making.
Businessman's secret meeting.
Alleged to have met a Putin confidant just 9 days before Mr. Trump's inauguration.
North Carolina takes college basketball title.
They're amazing!
They're the best!
Good morning. I'm Steve Kathan with the CBS World News Roundup. The White House is trying to pump new life into health care reform, looking for a second opinion from Republican conservatives who helped pull the plug on the bill that died last month. Live now to White House correspondent Stephen Portnoy.
Vice President Pence huddled on Capitol Hill last night with members of the House Freedom Caucus to hammer out a deal.
We're hopeful that we'll get the legislative text within the next 24 hours.
Mark Meadows, who chairs the Conservative Freedom Caucus, says the vice president offered a solid idea to allow states to opt out of the coverage requirements set by the Obamacare law and the rule that a policy be equally priced for everyone of a certain age, regardless of each person's health problems. Conservatives say doing away with those provisions would lower premiums for most, but they'd also tend to make insurance more expensive for those who depend on it most. Steve?
The Washington Post reports 9 days before the inauguration, the United Arab Emirates arranged a secret meeting between Eric Prince, a businessman backing Donald Trump, and a Russian close to Vladimir Putin. The Post's Greg Miller says it was an effort to establish a back-channel line of communication between Moscow and the new president.
He donated a ton of money to Trump. His sister is the education secretary for Trump. He has close ties to Trump's closest advisor, Steve Bannon. So on the other hand, I think it's also really hard to imagine that he goes into this meeting brokered by the UAE without any blessing or coordination with the Trump team.
Well, CBS's Major Garrett tells us there's a new twist in the Obama administration's handling of incidental intelligence information scooped up during the presidential campaign.
A source close to former Obama National Security Advisor Susan Rice confirmed to CBS News that Rice had asked for names of the Trump team to be unmasked to her after seeing them referenced in intelligence briefs. Identities of U.S. civilians caught in foreign surveillance are normally concealed or masked.
Well, the Trump administration's out with a warning to companies that go looking for skilled workers from other countries. Live to CBS's Vicki Barker.
A carefully timed warning coming on the opening day of visa applications for U.S. firms seeking highly skilled foreign programmers and other specialized workers. The Justice Department's Civil Rights Division says it will investigate and prosecute any employers who overlook qualified American applicants. Now, the Obama administration sued companies over working visa issues, too. But this represents a ramping up of vigilance and enforcement aimed at keeping Americans first in line for jobs. Steve?
Well, today is Equal Pay Day, the symbolic date in which women's pay catches up to men's from the previous calendar year. Some businesses mark it by offering 20% discounts today to women. The NCAA says it will again consider North Carolina to host championship games. Last week, lawmakers replaced the bathroom law that angered the ruling body of college sports and other business groups. Well, fans of the University of North Carolina basketball team are dancing in the desert. CBS's Steve Futterman covered last night's national championship game.
For North Carolina, one word summed up last night's win: redemption.
The Tar Heels have won their 6th national title.
A year after losing the championship on a last-second shot, North Carolina turned the tables with a win over Gonzaga. Carolina fans who made the trip here to Arizona were ecstatic.
What do we think of them? They're amazing!
The game itself was close. With just under 2 minutes left, Gonzaga trying to win its first championship led by 2 points, 65-63. Then North Carolina scored the final 8 to win the game. Some of the Tar Heel players, with last year's loss still on their mind, became emotional on the court. Carolina's Theo Pinson.
Pretty much everybody that was on the floor was tearing up. We did it.
For North Carolina, it's national championship number 6. Only Kentucky and UCLA have one more. Steve Futterman, CBS News, at the national championship game in Glendale, Arizona.
It's 4 minutes after the hour.
Check out CBS Radio News podcasts. From hard news to features, there's lots available from our app. Listen to experts like John Dickerson each Sunday on Face the Nation, or Scott Pelley every weeknight on the CBS Evening News. There's the World News Roundup, America's longest-running network newscast, and the Weekend Roundup, our Week in Review magazine show. It's all available from CBSRadioNews.com or on our app for iOS and Android.
I'm Rick Osick, president of Famous Footwear. Did you know that premature birth is the #1 killer of babies in the United States? Or that survivors can face a lifetime of serious health problems? But you can help. Join me and Famous Footwear for the March for Babies walk. We'll work together to raise funds for research and programs that help the March of Dimes fight premature birth and birth defects and improve the health of moms and babies. Start your team today at marchforbabies.org.
Russian authorities have identified the suicide bomber who killed 14 people on a St. Petersburg subway train. CBS's Elizabeth Palmer is covering.
He's Akbarjan Jalilov, and he was named by the security services of a small republic called Kyrgyzstan. It lies south of Russia near the Afghan border, and that's where Jalilov was born in 1995. Investigators are going to be pursuing very vigorously the distinct possibility that he was another one of these self-radicalized lone wolves.
CBS's Holly Williams has details on a suspected chemical attack in a northern province in Syria that's killed more than 50 people.
Videos emerging from Syria today certainly suggest that some kind of chemical agent was used against civilians, including children. This one, apparently from the immediate aftermath, appears to show those who were injured and killed without any visible wounds. Now, Idlib province is a stronghold for Syrian rebels, and it's been pounded by Syrian regime and Russian airstrikes. But at this point, we cannot confirm who carried out this attack.
The FAA says it's not going to punish actor Harrison Ford for flying his private plane over a commercial jet and landing on a taxiway at a Southern California airport back in February. President Trump signed a bill into law that would allow internet providers to sell information about their customers' web habits. Privacy advocates have decried it. The industry called efforts to limit what they could do unfair. Senate Democrats have lined up enough support to block President Trump's Supreme Court nominee from getting the 60 votes he needs for confirmation. But a planned filibuster later this week is likely to push Republicans to change the rules for a simple majority to be the new confirmation threshold. Time Magazine's Zeke Miller.
That is a smart political play today, but tomorrow or, in 2 years from now when the next Supreme Court nominee comes up, they're giving up a whole lot of leverage, and that could be a very big problem for Democrats and will really change the dynamic in Washington.
But wait, there's more. Ronco, the company behind the Vegematic and other gadgets sold on late-night TV, plans to sell 5 million shares in the company at $6 each. Act now, and investors who spend $1,000 or more will get a 20% discount on Ronco products. Wall Street, the Dow is down 20 points. Time on the roundup, 8 past the hour.
This is Good Morning Monterey Bay on KSCO AM 1080, FM 104.1. I'm Rick O'Shea with your traffic. North 1 will be stop and go through Aptos beginning just north of Buena Vista Drive. Pretty solid up to Freedom Boulevard. Does start to improve beyond that. By the time you're at 41st, everything is wide open again. Highway 17 northbound looking great through Los Gatos and Campbell. There is some road work taking place on South 17. It's closing the off-ramp from Pasatiempo until 2 o'clock today for emergency road work. Northbound 101 heavy from San Martin to Morgan Hill and from East Capitol and Pockets through 237. Towards Monterey, no delays on southbound 1 down to Marina, Sand City, Carmel. Everything is great. But West 68 is going to be heavy from Portola Drive through Corral de Tierra. Leaving Salinas, South Davis will be a little sluggish, especially getting closer to Blanco. And Blanco itself is going to be stop and go closer to Armstrong. Your weather today, just as warm, maybe a little warmer than yesterday, depending on where you are, of course. The warm spot will be Boulder Creek at 84. The cool spot, Monterey, at 64. So a 20-degree spread across the area today. Santa Cruz will be at 75. Gilroy, King City, and San Jose all at 81 degrees. Another nice day tomorrow. We'll start to bring in the clouds tomorrow afternoon. Mostly cloudy on Thursday, and then Thursday night into Friday. That's when the rain will start. Right now it is 45 degrees at KSCO. Local news brought to you by Bedell and Nelson Harbert Insurance, proudly celebrating more than 90 years of serving the people of Santa Cruz County. Bedell and Nelson Harbert, one agent, one company, and answers you can trust. Call 426-3700. With your local news, here's Tavia Avila.
Thank you, Rick. Hollister police officers are investigating a shooting that took place in their city yesterday afternoon. The 1 p.m. incident took place on the 500 block of San Benito Street. No injuries were reported, but some property was damaged. A 19-year-old man was arrested early Saturday for road rage. The incident took place just after midnight on Monterey Road, just north of San Martin, when Soledad resident Alexander Monzon fired several shots at another vehicle. Monzon was also found to be wanted on a nearly $5 million warrant out of Monterey County. He was booked into Santa Clara County Jail. The Santa Cruz County Sheriff's Office is warning residents about a kidnapping scam. Philip Deseth has the details.
Authorities say that there have been several reports of residents receiving calls from Mexican phone numbers claiming to be holding relatives and demanding ransom money in the form of prepaid debit cards. Victims who have complied have found out their supposed kidnapped relatives were never abducted. Anyone with any information on the calls is encouraged to contact the Sheriff's Office. I'm Philip Deseth for KSCO Radio.
Recent drownings on the Central Coast are reminders the ocean can be quite dangerous. The director of O'Neill Sea Odyssey, Dan Hafley, reminds both residents and visitors to be mindful of their surroundings and to never let their guard down around the ocean.
What people don't realize, you look at the water and you think, oh, it can't be any more than a bathtub. But in fact, it is the ocean. It has a lot of power. It has more power than we do. And people can die. And that was a very tragic situation. So you have to be very careful, go in with a buddy, have an escape route, be able to know if there's an undertow or if there's sneaker waves or if otherwise you can get in trouble out there. Just really be careful.
Hafley says ocean conditions are often unpredictable and can change minute by minute. The Santa Cruz CHP officers will be hosting a fundraiser for Special Olympics of Northern California. The Tip a Cop benefit will be held at Chili's restaurant in Capitola. All of the tips raised will go directly to Special Olympics of Northern California. The event will be at Chili's restaurant located at the Capitola Mall tomorrow from 6 to 8 p.m. This is Tavia Avila for KSCO Radio News.
Listen. Those are actual sounds of electrical wires shorting out behind the walls of Central Coast homes. Though you can't hear arcing behind your walls, JM Electric Current Safe Home Inspection Equipment can hear them for you. To know if you should call JM Electric for a free electrical safety assessment, answer this question from JM Electric's Chris Jensen.
Have you upgraded your electrical system lately? If no, your home may not be able to adequately handle all your new TVs, computers, microwaves, and electronic gadgets, which may overload your overworked electrical system and put you at risk for an electrical fire.
If you answered no to Chris Jensen's question, something may be buzzing in your walls. To discover how at risk your home might be, take JM Electric's home electrical safety test at jmelectric.com. In a few short minutes, you'll know how at risk your home is to electrical problems. Take the test right now at jmelectric.com or give JM Electric a call at 422-7819 and ask for the free, no obligation home electrical safety assessment. That's 422-7819. Hello, folks. Charlie Friedman here at Ella's at the Watsonville Airport. Ella, how do you get people to travel to the Watsonville Airport just to enjoy the food?
You know, we start with vitality of fresh food. What we mean by vitality is that when foods are still fresh, still with all of their nutrients in them, you're getting the absolute best bang for your buck. And also, when you lightly cook items, don't overcook them, it allows your body to absorb nutrients in the food to its best abilities. So it's actually better to many times blanch, say, a broccolini than eat a raw broccolini. And that's what's really special about us. Not only are we blanching those items, but many times we're using local organic food, so you're getting really the best of the best.
Folks, you will tell all your friends what a great dining experience you had at the airport. Ella's at the Watsonville Airport.
From Paso Tiempo to Pebble Beach, Red Hot News Talk, AM 1080 KSCO Santa Cruz.
We had the weirdest inter-break moment, you and I.
What, that break we
so
just
14 minutes on the nose ago.
Yeah.
You look at me and kind of frantically say, come in here. So I casually walk in. When I come into the room, I look at the desk. You're not there. You're not standing at your bag. You're over on the right, near the couch. And you're getting on your knees, and you're saying, come look at this with Hula. I don't know what's going on. And I thought, oh, no. I wonder if... First thing I thought of, maybe there's a tick. Yeah, I'm the tick removal.
Yes,
here.
Rick is very good at tick removal. He's excellent at it.
I'm good handling most things that rhyme with my name going forward, just if anyone needs any assistance. So you're trying to roll Hula over because she's lying on the couch, and you say something I've never heard anyone say before with respect to their animal, which is, all of her nipples have gone. I reacted normally because I'd never heard something so strange. I'm being told that your dog, who is all of, what, 9?
She's 9, yes.
Has had her nipples disappear. When you flip her over, Hula produces, in fact, one ginormous nipple that looks like it has been... It's kind of like the nipples developed its own little skin tag.
Really weird.
And then he started rubbing around, and instantly, as per usual, I found a nipple. Pretty quickly.
Well done, well done.
Yeah, it wasn't my record time, but it was pretty good. That was top 5 in nipple location. At which point you respond, that's not much of a nipple. So now Hula is inadequate. You start to trace out, well, there's a nipple here, there should be a nipple here, and they're not there.
Oh, you're killing me.
all these opportunities to speak with Dr. Pete, and you ask me.
Well, it's different.
I go into the bathroom, and there's no toilet paper, there's no hand towels, there's nowhere to clean my hands.
Ah, dear me. Anyway, she's
So what's
all right.
going on now?
No, I don't know what's going on. I just think it's a little fat cell that's under the nipple, but I can't find the rest
But
of
it
them.
didn't happen on Friday. Oh, I found 4 nipples.
Oh, well, she should have more than that.
Well, I didn't check them all.
Dear me. It's all right.
You just said I couldn't find any. Like they've just, they
I
were
couldn't yesterday. I was looking for them.
all day. Yes, that's what.
Not the
All day Sunday. I hear I'm under the weather. I can't go to the San Lorenzo Valley Water Department meeting. It turns out you're nipple hunting your dog.
No, but you know what I did on Sunday? I took down
I'm a little afraid to hear.
I took down my Christmas lights.
Oh my God.
I did 2 sets of them and put them away. I think
We're almost 33% there.
I know. I think I ruined one of them because I broke it, but that's okay. I still put it away.
Well, the lights now, fortunately, continue to work if one is burned out, at least.
No, I ripped a whole string of them off.
Oh, you broke it?
Yeah, I did.
Because let me guess, you unraveled and then you felt resistance and you just started tugging?
No, it was stapled outside the house. I had to pull it to get the staple out. So I broke it. And anyway.
Well, you'll have to spend another $4 next year.
Yes.
Well, in 66% of a year.
So I just very quickly wanted to talk about cable bills. I got my cable bill yesterday. It's paid automatically. So
Oh, man, you got to unplug. Well, I'm working on it. I'm trying. But, of course, the moment we tried to, no sharks. So I panicked.
The basic cable is $59.99. That includes basic and expanded basic services. That's what I pay. But in fact, my bill is $115.61.
Why, do you have like box rental or something?
$18 for digital preferred, $9.95 for the digital converter, $10 for the HD technology fee, $5 other charges and credits are a broadcast TV fee of $5, a regional sports fee of $3, a franchise fee of $6.30, a PEG access support for $2.75, FCC user fee, sales tax, and a possessory interest.
So you got to get my wife to call pretending to be you.
Yes.
And she'll get you something. Because if you were just a slightly more tech savvy, you could call up and threaten to quit and just say, I have a brand new computer now. I have access to all these other platforms.
I thought about that, but all they're going to want to do is give me more stuff. I don't want more stuff. I want the bill to be dropped.
Yeah, they could. They can. We've had some success. We just have like 1,000 boxes.
Oh, well, I've got one, but I'll give it a shot. I will give it a shot because it's slightly annoying. Okay.
No, they don't want to lose you.
Well, they could.
They're worried.
Not really.
Who's your provider?
Xfinity.
Xfinity. Yeah, just say you got a great deal from Dish Network or a great deal from DirecTV.
Oh, let me write that down, Dish.
No. We'll do it for you. Don't worry.
Okay. All right. Now, a trucker that drove... I have to do this story because I'm so astonished.
You get angry at my segues.
A trucker drove cross-country whilst he was high.
Okay. Was he actually delivering product for a major company?
Well, no. He was from Alaska. He drove from Seattle to Deerfield, Massachusetts. And he ended his ride at a gas station where an employee called the cops because they saw him and his erratic behavior in the parking lot. First of all, he put his credit card into the fuel tank. Then he locked himself out of the vehicle. Then they saw him trying to break in the truck from between the trailer and the front cab. He's 49. He used crystal meth,
wow,
cocaine, and LSD.
Now, this is not a justification. Was he attempting to make a delivery or to pick up a shipment?
No.
Why did he do it?
He just had the drugs.
According to Google, south from Seattle to Deerfield, Massachusetts is about 44 to 46 hours.
He did it in 44.
And he did it nonstop.
44.
3,000 miles nonstop driving.
On LSD and meth and cocaine.
Were there any reports?
No.
of erratic driving along the way?
No, they had quite the struggle to get him.
His heart's going to fail in like a week.
To the medical center. He didn't injure anyone.
How old is he?
49. He is being charged with operating under the influence of drugs and faces many additional charges. Oh, prior to his arrest, he had managed to deliver his cargo of raspberry roots.
He did have cargo.
Yeah, but it's raspberry roots, for goodness sakes. LSD? Driving a truck full of anything on LSD? Goodness me.
So the National Sleep Foundation says on average about 100,000 crashes a year are caused by fatigued drivers. Going 17 to 19 hours without sleep led to the performance equivalent of having a blood alcohol concentration of about 0.05.
Okay, now I have a question for you. Is the guy who did My Pillow, did he start the National Sleep Foundation?
I believe he did. I found a My Pillow. We have one.
Oh my God, do you?
I don't use it. I found it in, a relative who's not at the house right now. And we're rummaging through her belongings.
Oh, great. Nice that you admit that on the air.
Get this. I found some treasures, though.
What'd you find?
Well, first off, we were in there for good reason, because this person's been away for a while in hospital, and we have to clean out things from the fridge that are spoiling, you know? But I found a original honorable discharge from 1919 from the U.S. Army.
Oh, wow, that is a cool thing to find.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That was from her grandfather?
I believe so. Yeah.
Wow.
It showed what the writing is very Constitution-esque. It's very whimsical. So I'll need to sit down with a computer to kind of Google infantry or what regiment, what branch he was in. But yeah, that was sitting right on top of something. So there was a photocopy of it, and it's in a bag, but the Ziploc bag is too small, so air still is able to get it. So I think Ziploc should create historical document bags that are just a little bit taller.
On the BBC on Sunday on Antiques Roadshow, they take the Antiques Roadshow in nice weather, and this one obviously wasn't filmed now because it's not very warm there, but this was on some estate.
Unless they're begging for money, nothing on KQED is live.
Yeah, that's true. And this was there was a guy who did manuscripts and books, and the guy shows up and he's got this tiny little booklet, and it where the pages fold back, and it is written at the time. It wasn't written by Shakespeare, but it was written at the time that Shakespeare was writing his plays.
How they can date that?
Yeah, absolutely. The guy, the expert, was all trembly. He just said he could not believe that it was like a Cliff Notes from the 1700s.
Was it English that was comprehensible?
Not all of it, no, not at all. But he was so excited. He said that it was worth, he'd never seen anything like it before, and put it at £30,000. But he said really that would be a matter of conjecture. He wasn't sure what it really would earn. There was just this tiny little book full of this big loopy writing, very exciting stuff. I love it when the British get excited. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm trembling.
So where do you sleep? Like on your back, your side, or your stomach?
I sleep on my side.
Sleep on your side. So you need a firm support pillow to keep your spine aligned with the shoulders and hips.
And don't tell me that would be a My Pillow.
No. This is just, I'm helping you select, the perfect pillow.
I have down pillows. I love them. They are perfect.
For you back sleepers, you want a medium support pillow, which will keep good support between your head and your neck. And you stomach sleepers, do not get anything firm. You need very light support. I think anyone who's slept on their stomach. I have 3 full-fledged stiff pillows, and I arrange them in such a way that one position they're unbelievably comfortable, and then if you so much as turn, you feel like your neck's about to snap.
Gosh.
So I wake up surrounded by, pillows and dogs.
Yes, no doubt. A company in Stockholm.
How much again is the perfect pillow with the My Pillow?
I have no idea. I think it's like $80.
What?
Yeah,
you get 2 of them?
No, Only if you ask for the special promo code.
Oh my God, it is. Look at this, $100
Yeah.
for a 2-pack. So it's about $50 a pillow for the George Norrie knockoff.
That's just somebody coming to the door. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, we're all safe. You're safe.
I don't know. I
I'm
can't see
safe.
anything.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Let us pop over to Stockholm.
So
right
you have
now.
one, right?
No, I don't.
You don't.
I wouldn't buy one.
See if they're hiring for you.
No, I don't want to work for him.
Imagine that. You get to hug pillows and doorsteps.
No, I don't want to hug pillows and doorsteps. In Stockholm, there is a company where there are 200 employees, and 3/4 of them are going to be given chips. They've agreed to get chips, to be microchipped.
In their skin?
Yeah.
To do what?
It's
This company makes chips?
No, they are implanting their workers and startup members with microchips that function as swipe cards to open doors, operate printers, or buy smoothies with a wave of the hand.
So, as scary as that sounds, the people who are agreeing to this have an opportunity to opt out, correct?
They do, absolutely.
Okay, then I'm fine with it.
And it's not a problem. The CEO of Epicenter said the biggest benefit, I think, is convenience. It basically replaces a lot of things you have, other communication devices, whether it be credit cards or keys.
It's weird what's justified as being a convenience item now. It's like, no, you don't have to blink.
I
Just
know.
have a guy throwing liquid in your face all day long.
Yeah.
How convenient is it? You don't have to blink.
Yeah, they began implanting workers in January of 2015. Now 150 workers have got them.
Frightening.
I know, isn't it?
What do they do? What does Epicenter do?
It's like a hub for companies, technology companies. But it's all like it's got electric.
What happens if two employees high five? Do they share information? Seriously.
I don't know. It takes less than 10 seconds. Nobody screams. There's no blood.
Here we go. A 47-year-old chief experience officer said, people ask me, are you chipped? And I say, yes, why not? And they all get excited about privacy issues and what that means and so forth. And for me, it's just a matter of I'd like to try new things and just to see it as more of an enabler and what would bring into and what I could bring into the future. That's still. You have a key card on your belt or on your watch or something.
That I would deal with, but not in my body. I mean, I say that I had hula microchipped.
Well, yeah,
it's the same thing.
He injects the implants using preloaded syringes into the fleshy area of the hand, just next to the thumb. Process lasts a few seconds, and more often, there are no screams and barely a drop of blood. Oh my God! Imagine if Zwirling came in and just said, "Okay, keister shots, everyone. Is your ZBS plug? That'd be minimal pain, just a few screams."
It's 30 minutes past 7 is your traffic.
Northbound one, still going to be heavy in Aptos, coming up from Larkin Valley Road in pockets through Santa Cruz up to about Park Avenue. North of 41st into the Fishhook, everything is clear. No delays on 17. It is a smooth commute. 101 heavy from San Martin to Morgan Hill, and again in San Jose, beginning at East Capitol, in pockets up to 237. South 1 heavy from Marina to Seaside. West 68 is slow at Toro Park to Corral de Tierra. Your weather outlook today, we're looking at plenty of sun after morning clouds. Highs are going to be in the 60s and 70s of the coast, upper 70s to the middle 80s over the hill. We'll stay pleasant tomorrow. We'll bring clouds tomorrow evening. Mostly cloudy on Thursday with rain by Friday. Right now it is 45 degrees at KSCO.
Local news is brought to you by Ben Lomond Market. Want low prices, great savings, and excellent customer service? Look no further than Ben Lomond Market. Fabulous selection, excellent quality. Visit benlomondmarket.com.
With your news, here's Tavia Avila.
Thank you, Rick. A woman who was involved in the death of a Google executive on board his boat in the Santa Cruz harbor has been arrested by ICE agents. Alex Tickleman, also known as the harbor hooker and the call girl killer, was arrested by ICE agents when she was released from Santa Cruz County Jail. Tickleman, who is a Canadian, is now in federal custody. Authorities reported that 14 people were rescued at Panther Beach just north of Santa Cruz on Sunday. The 14 beachgoers were stranded after rising tides left them with no way to exit the beach. A CHP helicopter responded and quickly assisted in lifting the people to safety. There were no reports of injuries. The Santa Cruz County Sheriff's Office is warning residents about a kidnapping scam. Authorities say that there have been several reports of residents receiving calls from Mexican phone numbers claiming to be holding relatives and demanding ransom money in the form of prepaid debit cards. Victims who have complied have found out their supposed kidnapped relatives were never abducted. Anyone with any information on the calls is encouraged to contact the Sheriff's Office. One person was airlifted to an area trauma center over the weekend after he suffered burns in a vehicle fire. The 11 a.m. incident, which occurred on Cienga Road in Hollister, also sparked a small brush fire Saturday. Firefighters were able to douse the blaze before it spread. The Veterans Job Fair will be held this Thursday. Those planning on attending are welcome to submit their resumes for review today from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Veterans Building. The veterans are also welcome to participate in mock interviews tomorrow from 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. The Veterans Building is located at 846 Front Street in downtown Santa Cruz. This is Tavia Avila for KSCO Radio News.
Attention men, if you have tried or wanted to try Viagra or Cialis, or if you've ordered an over-the-counter product in the last few years, Noxitril is an option that is completely private, has received tremendous reviews, and can be at your door in just days. Pharmaceutical companies dislike us because we present a real option to their higher prices and insurance limitations. After years of research, Noxitril has been developed and formulated in U.S. FDA labs, packed with the highest quality potent ingredients. Noxitril is a true breakthrough in male potency. This remarkable all-natural pill is being called Viagra on steroids and is known as a sure winner. So what are you waiting for? Call now and ask how to get your free supply.
Call now and find out how to get a free bottle of Noxitril while supplies last. Call 1-800-480-5681. That's 800-480-5681. Free bottles for a limited time, so call now. 800-480-5681. 800-480-5681.
What blinding flash of brilliance is on Coast to Coast AM tonight?
It's going to be one of those nights on Coast to Coast AM.
We keep our friends close with this.
I'm George Norrie. What a fast year. What a bizarre summer as well. I'm honored to host one of the few syndicated programs on KSCO. Join us on Coast to Coast AM.
That's the recipe for great radio.
Right here on KSCO on Coast to Coast AM.
Wait for it after dark.
Hi, I'm Captain Dave Michaels.
And this is Ben Bacard.
Here aboard Flight 1080, we want to give you the most accurate traffic reports. And while we're at it, we'll cover national headlines, local headlines, play some great music, and cover the issues that matter to you. And that is why we have to get into this hot air balloon and leave right now. But you can listen from the safety of your home or in your car with your radio, computer, or smartphone. That's 1080 AM on your radio dial or 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at ksco.com. Wish us luck.
This portion of Good Morning Monterey Bay brought to you by the Santa Cruz Sentinel. Read the Sentinel every day, in print or online. Tune in and see what Rosie and Rick have to say about today's Santa Cruz Sentinel stories.
Time for a little good news with Rosemary Chalmers.
It's getting better all the time.
Thank you very much, Rick. Well, we're going to start off in New York because a utility worker is being credited with saving a man who fell onto the subway track. That's right, just before a train pulled into the station in New York City. There was a cell phone video, which I have seen. It's amazing. It was taken by a teenager, and it shows Jonathan Kulig from Queens picking up a young man who had fallen off a platform in Manhattan and landed between the rails. He's 29. He works for Consolidated Edison. I'm guessing that's the East Coast equivalent of PG&E. He's an engineer. He then puts the disoriented man on the platform and then guided him to a nearby bench. Just moments later, a subway train rumbled into the station. The rescue took place. It was around 8:45 at night on Saturday. He was taken to the hospital. Nobody knows right now if how he's doing or what the situation is, but he was okay. That is a particularly brave thing to do when there is a live rail. Plus, you've got to pick the guy up on your own. Plus, you've got to get him across the rails. Plus, there'd be a train coming. Amazing work. Well done, Jonathan Kulig of Queens. We hope that you are recognized by the city for your bravery. You're a very good Samaritan. And now we go to Gilbert Baker. You might not know who Gilbert Baker is personally, but you've seen the result of what he gave us. And I often, when somebody passes away and there's something that they did of note, I like to include them in this segment because you don't know about them otherwise. It's often only until they pass away that you know. And Gilbert is an artist and an activist, and he has died. And that is 40 years after he created the rainbow flag that now symbolizes gay pride around the world. His death was announced by his fellow activist, Cleve Jones. He said, Gilbert gave the world the rainbow flag. He gave me 40 years of love and friendship. This was in the San Francisco Chronicle. He died in his sleep at home. He was 65. Mr. Baker was asked by then Supervisor Harvey Milk to create something to replace the pink triangle that was used to identify homosexuals by the Nazis. And so Gilbert decided on a flag. He said, flags are about power. Flags say something. The first rainbow flag flew over the 1978 Gay Freedom Day celebration in San Francisco. Apparently, Baker gifted one of the sewing machines he used to make his flag to the Historical Society for the GLBT. A memorial is going to be held this week, actually, in San Francisco, and the society is asking that rainbow flags be lowered to half staff in his honor. But he made something, I don't know about you, but when I see that rainbow-colored flag, it's a joyous thing to me. And so it's a wonderful, wonderful legacy that Gilbert Baker left us. And he, of course, has passed away. But that being said, he left us something wonderful. Now I want to talk about Milpitas. Yes, and I said it correctly because I know it gets said wrongly sometimes. Spring has sprung, and we have a beautiful surprise. And what is that surprise? A bumper crop of breeding bald eagles. Apparently, usually you often just see them on the Discovery Channel, they say, but now they are being seen over Stanford's Inner Quad, San Jose's Westfield Oak Ridge Mall, and the levees of Alviso. They've seen them at Raging Waters Aquatic Park, and another one at the Palo Alto Airport. So apparently everybody is getting super, super excited. They're really huge, and people are wondering and seeing them all over the place. Of course, the largest bird of prey in the United States, the bald eagle, is one of the great success stories in wildlife conservation, proof that Mother Nature can bounce back. So nice that we have them in the area breeding and soaring again. I think that's wonderful. And now a lovely story that is on the front page of the local newspaper of the Santa Cruz Sentinel this morning. There's a new company, and it's called Bright Vision Solar, and they're based on River Street in Santa Cruz, and they're looking at the future. They've got all sorts of things designed to liberate African farming communities from overhead and travel costs and all sorts of things. But right there, it's not only that, it's what they're going to do, because they are functioning as a research and development lab for Brady and the company's director, Tom McLean, but they're going to have 4 employees, all of them homeless U.S. military veterans that are going to assemble, pack, and ship the LED bay lights for Thrive Energy, which is Mr. McClellan's other business. It's just great that a small local company is looking ahead and looking about them and realizing that they can make a difference. Yeah, it's only 4, but it's 4 that weren't employed before, and they were homeless, and they're veterans. And I think that Bright Vision Solar is exactly that. They have bright vision, and very, very wonderful that they're doing that. I just think it's Paddy Brady, Tom McClellan, thank you so much for what you are doing in our community. We hope your company is super successful and that you can hire 4 more homeless veterans. There's your good news on a Tuesday morning.
I've got to admit, it's getting better. It's a little better all the time. I have to admit, it's getting better. It's getting better since you've been mine. Getting so much better all the time. It's getting better all the time.
Time for traffic on this Tuesday morning. I'm Rick O'Shea. Highway 1 northbound will be heavy through Aptos. Backup begins right at Marmonte, lasting up about midway between State Park and Park. After that, things were looking pretty darn nice through the Fishhook. Highway 17 clear as a bell through Los Gatos and Campbell. No delays there. 101 is going to be heavy only in San Jose, starting at East Capitol up to 237. Southbound 1 is going to be heavy in Monterey County. Backup is just past Reservation Road in Marina, lasting down to Sand City. Another couple rounds of slow traffic from the Naval Postgraduate School to North Carmel. 68 West, stop and go through Toro Park, starting at Portola, lasting through Corral de Tierra. There is road work on 17 southbound currently. The off-ramp from Pasatiempo Drive is shut down, again from southbound 17. That will reopen at 2 o'clock this afternoon. They're doing some emergency repairs. The weather today, sunny and warm, 60s and middle 70s along the beaches, upper 70s to the middle 80s over the hill. We'll bring in the clouds tomorrow night and expect rain by late Thursday night into Friday. 7:43 at KSCO.
Hi, registered pharmacist Ben Fuchs here. I've been studying healthy bodies for 35 years, and what I've got to tell you may shock and surprise you, but if you listen up, it may change your life. Shrimp and lobsters make their own anti-inflammatory molecules. In a press release posted by the College of Medicine at Florida Atlantic University, officials announced that they had received a grant to investigate just how the marine medicine could be used to eliminate inflammatory diseases in humans. The chemical that's at the center of attention is called chitin, and it's a key constituent of the shells of various ocean animals, and as it turns out, chitin has powerful anti-inflammatory properties. Chitin is made up of repeating units of glucose to which it owes its interesting medicinal properties. Actually, chitin isn't made up of any old glucose. It's a specialty glucose that has a little chunk of amino acid attached to it. This little proteinaceous piece turns the ordinarily one-trick pony glucose into glucosamine, a sort of superglucose that provides structure and support for everything from bones to butterfly wings and has therapeutic properties to boot. You can get your glucosamine from foods, especially homemade chicken soup. The knobby cartilage on chicken bones is a great source and contains other substances like amino acids and chondroitin and collagen that can all contribute joint health benefits. You can bump up the glucosamine content of your soup by putting shrimp shells in a little tea ball and letting them steep in the soup. Make sure you throw in some lime or some lemon because you need a little acid to dissolve the glucosamine. Aloe is also a good source of glucosamine, and so is noni. Algae and spirulina, great sources of everything nutritional, also contain appreciable amounts of glucosamine. Pharmacist Ben here, urging you to go to kscohealth.com to order Beyond Tangy Tangerine, the Healthy Start Pack, and other nutritional supplements that I personally use and recommend. You can purchase these premium quality products at wholesale prices online at kscohealth.com. That's kscohealth.com. I'm the pharmacist that believes that staying healthy and strong is not only about medicine, it's about giving your body the raw materials it needs to do its work. Go to kscohealth.com. Make sure you check out the cool videos too at kscohealth.com. That's kscohealth.com.
Issues and entertainment. That's AM 1080 KSCO.
46 minutes past the hour of 7 a.m. In the studio with me this morning is Monica Parrick. Monica is the director of the summer session at UCSC. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Monterey Bay. I'm thrilled to be here.
Nice to have you here with us this morning. I never get to talk with as many folks from the university as I should because it's such a huge organization. But when I saw this, I thought, you know what? Yeah, because our summertime, I mean, especially for those people that have children, kids can languish in the summer. I don't think that that's any big surprise to anybody, that they just don't, maybe do the homework that they're meant to do, but probably not. They'll probably leave it to the other end of the summer holiday. But they say that, people's kids' brains especially stagnate somewhat in the summer. And I'm guessing that you have a huge amount of classes that you offer to both students and to the general public as well.
85% of our students are UCSC continuing students, and they're our priority for sure. But when I moved here 4 years ago, I couldn't believe that there wasn't a stronger outreach to the area high schools. So with all the competition to get into great universities now, what better for your high school application than to show you've already gone to college, been successful, especially at a UC. So I fought real hard, and we got a 50% off discount for high school students to take summer classes at UCSC.
Good for you.
Thank you.
That's really good. Did you come into this job with experience in this particular field?
Never at all, but it's always been important to me that a big university should work really well with the town that it's in. And in the summer, what better opportunity when UCSC opens its doors to everybody. It's also open to community members in the summer. So I'm happy to talk about that too.
Sure. Let's talk about let's go to the basics first. What about some of the classes that people might not think about? You tend to think about I happen to know that you have an excellent geology program.
Oh my gosh.
Up at the university. It's really fabulous. And I've had a couple of people on here who both have studied and raved about the program. So geology is something that folks could go and do a summer course in.
Absolutely. There's a geology course, an astronomy course that works with Lick Observatory, and an oceanography course. All three of those would be rad for a community member.
Yeah, they would, especially if you're connecting up to Lick there. I know that's really awesome because I've been to the observatory.
Isn't it gorgeous? And sometimes fantastic. They have string quartets play at night.
Yeah. So are these courses that offering let's just take the one on astronomy. How long is that course?
They're 5 weeks long. They usually meet 2 days a week for 3.5 hours.
And they meet during the day or in the evenings?
There's a few evening classes this year because I explained to the instructors we're really looking forward to more community members, high schoolers, and people who work full-time to consider this an option. So there's more in the evening this summer than there ever have been before. I'd say about 10.
Okay. And then you doing arts programs, I'm guessing?
The art department is incredible. And film and music. So if you
I was going to say, I know people in the who are presently enrolled in the music program who rave about it as well. What have you got in those particular fields?
Oh my gosh, everything from drawing and painting to photography. There's a metal fabrication class. There's a women in music, classical music history, the history of electronic music. And then in film, there's what's it called when you make a documentary but it's a joke? A mockumentary class.
Oh, is that? That's
production.
Cool.
There's a screenwriting class. Finally write that screenplay you've been thinking about.
Yeah, good. And now what's the size of the classes?
Oh gosh, really small. Last summer the average class size was 26 people. And in the arts probably closer to 21, 22.
And then in the humanities, what do you have in that aspect?
Oh God, literature, history, philosophy.
And are these instructors, are they UCSC staff? Is that who your instructors are, or are they brought in from other locations, Monica?
Sure, the vast majority, Rosemary, are current UCSC faculty and lecturers. There's a decent chunk of outstanding graduate students that the department hand selects to teach some classes.
And then, so obviously with the smaller classes, then you want to register sooner rather than later. Is there an age on this in terms of the youngest that could go to these classes?
That's so funny you'd ask that. Last summer we had a 6th grader come and take a computer programming class. We couldn't believe our eyes.
And how did that...
He got an A-.
Well, that's what he's going to be doing, isn't it?
Isn't that cool?
That is totally cool. Yes, that is. So obviously there really isn't an age limit then.
There really isn't. For high schoolers, we recommend that they're finishing their freshman or sophomore year, so they'd be sophomores, juniors, or seniors.
And why is that? Just so that they have a little knowledge of the subject under their belt?
I think the capacity to write a paper, to understand how important it is to consider your summer class a leap forward in your education, not a punishment, not drudgery, not my parents are making me do this, but this is something I really want to tackle. To understand how to communicate with a professor, to reach out in office hours, to really put yourself forward.
Okay, and then some of the other classes that you have, do you have anything, let's say, in something mundane like cooking?
I find cooking mundane. The dinner I burnt last night wouldn't think that I thought cooking was mundane. There aren't any classes that are like like functional. No wine. Cabrillo's got the wine.
That's yes,
the wine
they do.
Tasting class.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. No, the courses are really more academic curriculum instead of like action. Yeah.
So if you've got, let's say you've got a class of 20 and 5% of them are high school seniors or freshmen, and then the others are from the community, how do they manage to give an equilibrium to that? How do you get a where kids would understand a class as well as adults?
That's a great question. Our professors are top-notch. They have experience already at UCSC. The ages of students who are enrolled these days really differs. So they've already got the experience teaching a class of different ability level and age. Now mixed together, high schoolers who are really creme de la creme. Some of the best high schoolers in the region are the ones that choose to come up to UCSC and make it a class that small, and you've really got a good chemistry.
Also, you don't have the traffic.
And you don't have the traffic.
No. Okay, now, and the reason that we're having Monica on is because registration has just opened on the 1st of April, and it closes
June 15th.
Okay, so now is the time to be looking, because I'm guessing that all of the classes are available as opposed to some of them being filled.
Gosh, the only classes that filled last year were like organic chemistry and some upper division stats classes, but really I don't want there to be a threat of filling out there for now.
Okay. Now, obviously, cost. Is there, you're saying that students get 50% off. What about other students from, say San Jose State or Cabrillo? Do they get a break in the price?
No other breaks in the price, just the high schoolers. And then staff who work at UCSC, they get half off too. I'll keep fighting the good fight though, Rosemary, to get that discount extended to other groups.
Yeah, no, that's tough. Is it expensive?
Yeah, it's about $1,500 for a 5-credit class.
And you get the credits to go with it?
You get the credits to go with it. You're buying UC units in addition to the campus is yours for the summer. Joining a class includes library, the computer labs, the whole campus, the gorgeous gym, the pool, the loop buses, the Metro Pass, the whole 9 yards.
Okay, good. And obviously then they just go to the UCSC website and get the information there and register, and off you go.
Yep, summer.ucsc.edu, and I've got a great team of staff waiting by if people have any questions.
Good. Well, it's very nice to make your acquaintance.
Rosemary.
Nice to see you. Monica Parrick, who is the director of Summertime Session at UCSC. Sounds like a lot of fun.
It's great. Thanks. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Appreciate your time. It is coming up on 55 minutes past the hour of 7 a.m. Coming up in a little bit, we're going to be having a conversation with Mark Stone, Assemblyman Stone. Number of things that are pressing right now. These new taxes that the governor has said that he's going to give us all. We're so lucky to pay for our roads and our infrastructure. And I think my main question to Assemblyman Stone is, well, what happened to the money that we already gave you? That's a question. Also, we've got the Senate has passed the Sanctuary State bill. So now, of course, that is moving to the Assembly. This is Senate Bill 54. And this would prohibit state and local law enforcement agencies from using resources to investigate, detain, report, or arrest persons for the purposes of immigration enforcement. We know we have a lot of sanctuary cities. I'll be interested to see what Mr. Stone has to say about whether it should be straight ahead on that one. The Senate did vote 27-12 along party lines to pass that measure, and so it'll go to the Assembly before possibly going to Governor Brown's desk. The bill for the taxes on the road seems like it's kind of iffy right now, to be honest with you. Republicans are not very happy about it at all, but as a taxpayer, I want to know, I already paid those taxes. You put them in the general fund and then you just nick them for something else, didn't you? I know that. We know what happens to these funds. So also, I believe that Mark has been involved in looking at the future of our local parks and where we're going to be going with that, and are we going to be able to connect our park system into North Monterey County park system, get a trail going the whole way. And I know that there were some meetings that were held on that subject as well. So we've got a lot to chat with him about this morning, and then if all goes well, we'll have Barry Holtzclaw from the Scotts Valley Press Banner, who's been following that San Lorenzo Valley Water District and this scenario that came to a culmination last night, and hopefully he will join us too. 7:57, this is Good Morning Monterey Bay. Here's Rick with your KSCO King of the Hill traffic update.
Northbound 1 heavy in two places. The first is in Aptos from Marmonte up to State Park. Another round of heavy traffic between Park and Soquel Drive. Northbound 17, no delays at all through Los Gatos and Campbell. 85 is going to be heavy due to a crash just north of Saratoga Avenue. Traffic backed up before Los Gatos. North 101 heavy in San Jose, starting at East Capitol, lasting through 237. And a pretty heavy day around the Monterey Peninsula as far as traffic. South 1, backup begins in Marina and will last in pockets at the Naval Postgraduate School. Another round of heavy traffic from the Del Monte Shopping Center into Carmel. Backup also on Highway 68 towards Skyline Forest. West 68 is heavy through Toro Park from Portola to Corral de Tierra. East 68 stop and go along the airport to Olmsted. Your weather today, plenty of sunshine, another warm one. 60s and mid-70s of the coast are pretty comfortable, up to the mid-80s, though, into the inland areas. Boulder Creek will be the warmest spot at 85. Cool off a little bit tomorrow, bring in the clouds tomorrow night, and again on Thursday, and it does look like we'll get some rain and some chilly temperatures back for Friday and Saturday. Right now it is 48 degrees at KSCO.
I have to say, I was out in the garden yesterday pottering around, and it already looks like you need to water. It's crazy.
Does it?
Yeah, it does. I was going, especially the things in pots. Yeah, absolutely. It does look like I have to start watering. I don't mind. I find it a rather pleasant and calming thing to do. And of course, now, this year, when you water, you don't have to feel guilty, although you should still have an automatic shut-off valve so that you're not necessarily spraying unnecessary water all over the place. But yeah, we'll actually be able to water without having anybody peeking over the fence. Are you watering? It's not your day to water today.
They're not going to institute anything again, do you think?
No, I think they're still going to push for conservation. I know that we're about to get a raise thrown at us from our water department, but that's because everybody conserved, and all of the water departments did that. You conserved, and then they put the price up because they weren't getting the money from you because you were conserving, which is one of those strange things that comes to bite you in the you-know-what. But yeah. So taxes, road taxes. Kind of been a very popular thing for Governor Brown to have come out with, but we will find out what Assemblyman Mark Stone thinks about that. He's a Democrat from Scotts Valley, and we will be chatting with him next. Thanks for tuning in to Good Morning Monterey Bay. We do appreciate it. You do have a choice, and thanks for listening to us. This is KSCO Santa Cruz Salinas, Monterey, 8 a.m.
CBS News, I'm Steve Kathan. The ruling body of college sports is changing course on North Carolina, not long after punishing the state over a recent law after decades of hosting prime events there. CBS's Jim Krasula is in Greensboro.
A compromised North Carolina LGBT bathroom law satisfies the NCAA, which says the state will again be considered for hosting of championship events. In a statement, the NCAA says most of its board of governors reluctantly accepted the replacement law. Gay rights activists are upset since local governments in North Carolina are still prohibited from enacting anti-discrimination measures.
It's not clear if other businesses, which also canceled North Carolina events costing the state millions, will do the same. The NCAA's move comes just hours after the University of North Carolina claimed the title in the March Madness college basketball tournament. Fans of the Tar Heels shouted it out late last night after the 71-65 win over Gonzaga.
We lost 8 years off our life for this game, but this is why we all came to school here. We knew these guys and we would pull it out in the end. and I absolutely love to see my love at school.
And the White House has gone back to the drawing board with House conservatives who effectively blocked the GOP health bill last month. House Speaker Paul Ryan says talks on a new compromise were revived last night.
Now we're throwing around concepts to improve the bill. That's occurring right now, but that is not to say that we are ready to go, because we want to make sure that when we go, we have the votes to pass this bill. We've got the consensus that we've long been looking for.
The conservatives want the bill, that is, to give the states a chance to opt out of some essential benefits that insurers provide. The Washington Post reports 9 days before the inauguration, there was a secret meeting between a major Trump donor, Eric Prince, and a Russian close to Vladimir Putin. CBS's Major Garrett.
According to the Post, the United Arab Emirates reportedly arranged the meeting in the Seychelles Islands in the Indian Ocean. Prince's aim was to establish a back-channel line of communication between Moscow and President-elect Trump. The White House denies knowledge of the meeting, and Prince's representatives deny it had anything to do with the president.
Overseas, Syria denies there was a chemical attack in a northern province, but an activist group says video evidence proves otherwise. CBS's Holly Williams says more than 50 deaths are blamed on it.
In one video, we see a doctor going around demonstrating that the pupils of his patients are not responding to light. That, according to a chemical weapons expert and CBS contributor, suggests that these people have been exposed to some kind of nerve agent.
The attack took place in a rebel stronghold. Today in Hong Kong, a new world record for a gemstone sold at auction. The nearly 60-carat, very large pink star diamond sold for just over $71 million. Wall Street Dow is up 2 points. This is CBS News.
Hanukkah, the German shepherd that I rescued, was stinky, skinny, and scrawny, full of skin rashes and scratching. And I started feeding Hanukkah Dynavite, and he became such a happier, itch-free, stink-free dog. I dug deeper into the website.
DINOVITE.com.
What if, in addition to Dynavite, we do the raw beef and the egg diet and see what happens? Forget all these 50-pound bags of formulated, extruded, processed cereal bits that cost a ton of money anyways. This dog's as close to a wolf as you can get. They're carnivores. With just the raw meat and the eggs and the Dynavite and Super Omega on top of it, it just balances out his body and his mind and his spirit. It's unbelievable. Hey, if you're thinking about rescuing a dog, you got to start them out on Dynavite. DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
Good morning, everybody. It is a Tuesday. It is April the 4th, 2017. And if it is your birthday today, happy birthday to you. We start off in 188 with Caracalla, the Roman emperor. No, we're not talking about the oranges. That's Caracara. This is Caracalla. Then we move forward to 1792. Lawyer and politician Thaddeus Stevens. Nurse and activist Dorothea Dix was born in 1802. And Linus Yale Jr. was the engineer and businessman, was born in 1821. Mary Coulter, the American architect, she designed the Desert View Watchtower, was born in 1869. Arthur Murray, yes, that Arthur Murray, the dancer and educator, was born in 1895. He passed away in 1891, so he had a wonderful, long, rich life, that is for sure. Frances Langford, the actress and singer, born in 1913. Muddy Waters, boy, one of the most influential singers, songwriters and guitarists in the business, born in 1913. Actor Richard Coogan was born in 1914. Mickey Owen, baseball player and coach, was born in 1916. And then we move forward to basketball player and coach Frank Truitt, born in 1925. Gene Reynolds, actor, director, producer and screenwriter, was born in 1925. Emmett Williams, the poet and author, 1925. Maya Angelou, the memorist and poet, was born in 1928. Founder of J Records and Arista Records, Clive Davis, born in 1932. Actor Anthony Perkins, born in 1932 as well. Kitty Kelly, journalist and biographer, was born in 1942. Ray Fosse, baseball player and sportscaster, was born in 1947. David E. Kelly, the screenwriter and producer, born in 1956. Robert Downey Jr., the actor, producer and screenwriter, born in 65. Nancy McKeon, the actress, 66. Kelly Price, singer-songwriter, born in 73. Oh, Heath Ledger, so sad. The Australian actor, born in 1979. By the way, he passed away in 2008. And then we have Austin Mahone, singer-songwriter and actor. He was born yesterday. 1996. So if it is your birthday today, happy birthday to you. Enjoy it. And what days do we have today?
We have Chicken Cordon Bleu Day.
Okay.
World Rat Day.
All right.
Dare Day.
Oh, no.
Like kids off drugs.
Oh, that day. Okay.
Yeah. Vitamin C Day.
Good.
And finally, Walk Around Things Day.
Yes. Don't walk through them, for goodness sake.
Someone wants to talk to you, just walk around them.
Coming up next, Assemblyman Mark Stone is going to join us from the state capital of Sacramento, and we've got quite a few things on the docket to chat about this morning. 8:07, here's Rick with your traffic.
North 1 will be stop and go in Aptos, Freedom Boulevard, up to about State Park. Another round of heavy traffic just shy of Park Avenue through Soquel Drive. 17 slows down just a little bit from Alma College Road through the Lex, not too bad though. Then 85 is heavy due to a crash in Saratoga. 101 stop and go in San Jose from East Capitol up to 237. And towards Monterey, South 1 backup begins right at CSUMB, lasting in pockets into North Carmel. West 68 heavy along Toral Park. East 68 is slow, close to the airport. Your weather today, some partly cloudy conditions early, plenty of sun later on, highs in the 60s and 70s of the coast, upper 70s to the middle 80s on the warm spots over the hill. With your local news, here's Tavia Avila.
Thank you, Rick, and good morning, Monterey Bay. The Santa Cruz County Sheriff's Office is warning residents about a kidnapping scam. Authorities say that there have been several reports of residents receiving calls from Mexican phone numbers claiming to be holding relatives and demanding ransom money in the form of prepaid debit cards. Victims who have complied have found out their supposed kidnapped relatives were never abducted. Anyone with any information on the calls is encouraged to contact the Sheriff's Office. Authorities reported that 14 people were rescued at Panther Beach just north of Santa Cruz on Sunday. The 14 beachgoers were stranded after rising tides left them with no way to exit the beach. A CHP helicopter responded and quickly assisted in lifting the people to safety. There were no reports of injuries. Although it's been closed to the public for nearly 60 years, there's a place in the Santa Cruz Mountains that will be reopening to the public in September. Susan Simon has more on that story.
A grand opening celebration is slated to be held September 16th and 17th at the summit of Mount Umunhum. The grand opening weekend is scheduled to include a variety of events. For KSCO, this is Susan Simon.
The full California state voted to approve a bill that would create a state program to fund legal representation for people facing deportation. Senator Ben Hueso said Senate Bill 6 is designed to ensure that residents of the state are granted the due process they deserve.
Immigrants in our state play a crucial role in driving the state's economy forward. State revenues are collected from both legal California residents as well as undocumented immigrants residing and working in California. According to CIPC's 2017 study, immigrants, both documented and not, contribute about 1/3 of the state GDP, $715 billion each year. The 1.8 million undocumented immigrants in California alone contribute about $181 billion of California's GDP.
Senator Hueso said that more information about Senate Bill 6 can be found online on California's Legislative Information website. The Santa Cruz CHP officers will be hosting a fundraiser for Special Olympics of Northern California. The Tip a Cop benefit will be held at Chili's restaurant in Capitola. All of the tips raised will go directly to Special Olympics of Northern California. The event will be at Chili's restaurant located at the Capitola Mall tomorrow from 6 to 8 p.m. This is Tavia Avila for KSCO Radio News.
Spring has sprung, blossoms are blooming, and it's time to celebrate. Dela Comena Marketing Catering is ready to cater your spring fling with delicious Mexican food at affordable prices. Where celebrations with family, friends, and coworkers has been tradition for over 30 years. Make your next special event, corporate meeting, or family affair a fiesta. Try their famous carnitas or chili verde. It melts in your mouth. Enjoy Lent specials and let your taste buds indulge in Dela Comena's fish tacos, fresh ceviche, or chili relleno. Take advantage of this Easter meal special. 8 pounds of carnitas, 1 small tray of rice, 1 small tray of beans, and it even includes salsa and tortillas for only $99. Put in your order now. Visit delacomena.com and make your holiday not only a feast, but a fiesta. We cook delicioso, you celebrate happy at Dela Comena Marketing Catering.
When you think of local, I want you to think of quality healthcare where you live. Think of local primary care physicians, local specialists, and local patient care coordinators. From Boulder Creek to Watsonville, Physicians Medical Group provides care from 100 locations throughout Santa Cruz County. PMG's patient care coordinators are the team you call when you need answers. To learn more about local healthcare with Physicians Medical Group, visit pmgscc.com or call 831-465-7800.
I'm so glad that we don't really think we're authorities. We're tracking novelty. That's what we're interested in.
Yes, we got a Trump and Mars story.
Really?
Yeah.
One of the few radio programs that stimulate the thought process.
Some say.
Why would they be looking for all these habitable planets if they didn't secretly have a way to get there? Others fear it might be true.
Your positive energy is just tonic.
Dr. Future Show, Tuesdays at 2 on KSCO.com.
If someone should ask, tell them you heard it on AM 1080 KSCO.
It is 14 minutes past the hour of 8 a.m. and joining us from the state capitol this morning is Assemblyman Mark Stone. He is a Democrat from Scotts Valley and it's the 29th District. Good morning to you, Mark. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm great. It's a beautiful day in Sacramento, although I'd much rather be where you are.
Yeah, I bet. Well, you want to do a radio program starting at 6 in the morning then?
Not quite that early.
No, there you go. Some interesting legislation coming from the governor at the end of last week concerning our infrastructure, asking for new taxes. There'll be taxes on the vehicles, the hybrid vehicles and the like, the electric vehicles. They would increase the car registration. The gas tax would be back on the line again. My first question is, when we pay those taxes right now, do they go straight into the general fund and then they are diluted, or who's stealing them, and what can we do about that, and how do you feel about the taxes?
Well, remember, this is a process that's been going on for 2 years now. We've been trying to address the revenue side taxes and get more money for transportation, whether it's local roads, trade corridors, transit, or some of the alternatives, bike lanes and other things that are important. And the deals finally come together. It has a few bumps, but it's pretty much come together now. Now, as to the taxes, there has been a long history of raiding taxes that have been raised for transportation, putting them into the general fund. At this point, most of the taxes that are supposed to go to transportation, in fact, are. Although part of this package will be to put a constitutional amendment on the ballot, which would then guarantee that any revenues raised out of this kind of a package would stay in transportation and could not be raided by any future legislature or any future governor and drawn into the general fund. That's been one of the major disconnects with the taxation system in California. It's so difficult to change. It's so difficult to rationalize it that money tends to be pulled from one category to another, and people rightfully get frustrated when they think they're paying taxes for one thing and all of a sudden those revenues get, as you said, stolen and put into another bucket and are not used how people would expect.
In our general lives, Mark, if I went around stealing somebody else's money that they were saving for their rent and I took it and paid for a vacation, I actually would be arrested and probably charged for that as theft. I mean, obviously that's what this is.
Well, except that it's not illegal. It's not illegal to move money from one account to another or to borrow from one tax pot and put it into the general fund. And that's how it had been done in the past, was it was borrowed, and then on a promise of repayment, the repayment may or may not have ultimately happened, but well intended and not specifically illegal, which is why the part of this package again is to put a constitutional amendment out there that would make it very clear that kind of borrowing, stealing, however you want to frame it, would not happen anymore.
Okay, then maybe the word I should use would be immoral.
Now that, yeah, I could not disagree with you there.
Yes, good. Well, now, and how do you feel about this package that the governor is offering? Personally, are you in favor of it? Is there something you'd like to change about the proposed legislation?
I am generally in favor of it and have been all along. There is something that was a last-minute deal that would exclude certain categories of diesel trucks from the upgrade path that they were on. And we're working to change that language. And the reason that that's important is, on one hand, under the greenhouse gas reduction efforts that we have, we've been trying to protect underserved communities who are still struggling with air quality. They have very high asthma rates, very high lung disease rates, and others. We don't see that so much on the Central Coast because whatever particulate matter that gets produced out of transportation blows to the east. So that's fine. But in other parts of California, we've been struggling to address those underserved communities. Now in this bill, all of a sudden, there are some exclusions for certain diesel trucks that would then allow them to continue to pollute over time and kind of take them off of the table. There's been some amendments to mitigate that, and I understand the deal that's been struck around there, but it's tough to see us working so hard to protect these underserved communities on one hand, and then on the other hand, basically ignore them by allowing some of these high polluters to continue to operate going through and around these underserved communities. So we're trying to rationalize that difference in here. That's one thing that I would like to change. There are other details probably that I'd love to have a little bit of a crack at, but the time for those details is gone. We're very close to getting a vote. This issue about the trucks is a real issue that I think we're coming up with a solution that was put into the Senate bill where it is now, and if that can get resolved, then I think it's a pretty solid package.
Okay, and when it first came out and we were talking about it on the air here, I had talked about the fact that if you levy that on diesel trucks, many of those are the trucks that deliver produce and goods and services, or goods rather, produce and goods, to places where we need them to go. And surely they would raise their prices, so we would end up biting the bullet again. Is that not a factor in that at all?
It definitely is. And in fact, that's the deal that was struck, was with the truckers to get them to support. And so with that change, they're on board. They use the same infrastructure that we all do. And when the roads are deteriorating, when congestion is so bad, when they can't move product from the ports, from warehouses, when it can't be readily moved up and down the state, that has a high cost as well. And so we're trading kind of one cost for another.
Yep.
Increasing the diesel tax, but getting better road infrastructure.
Okay, fair enough. The Senate has passed the Sanctuary State Bill, which would encompass the entire state of California. That is moving now to the Assembly. What are your thoughts on that? That was, of course, formerly Senate Bill 54, and the Senate voted 27-12 along party lines to pass it.
Yes, and this whole notion of sanctuary city and sanctuary state is kind of interesting. California, if you look at California from the outside, I think it's pretty clear we already are. We have the driver's license program. We serve at the state level our full population, many undocumented. We try to provide certain safe harbors. We put in place the Trust Act to provide some protection against ICE agents just coming in and unduly violating people's rights. So we're already pretty much in that status. What this bill does is make very clear statements about how we're going to protect all Californians. And so we're already most of the way there anyway, But within California, as we look at where we're vulnerable and the great deal of concern that many people have who are living here, part of the workforce, part of the economy, paying taxes, doing what most citizens would do, even though they're not necessarily documented, they're a part of our communities and part of our economy. And so what this bill does, as well as a number of efforts that are moving through the legislature, is say, we're going to protect you to the best extent we can so that you can continue to function in our communities the way that you have been over the years.
Okay, fair enough. And then you were recently involved with some meetings in Carmel concerning the Parks Department and parks in general, from looking at them from Monterey and Carmel, sort of envisioning a grand picture. I wondered if you might give our listeners an idea as to what it is that you're looking at, what you would like to see.
Sure. This is actually a very cool topic. The state parks will have done a number of general plans, and typically they're done for a park. There's a general plan done for Big Basin, for example, and they did a lot of community outreach. People were very engaged in that process of helping to identify what that general plan was. In the Carmel area, and this is sort of around the Carmel River and Point Lobos, there are 4 park units there, and they're doing something unique. That is, they're doing a general plan for all 4 park units. And the reason that's significant is that they're essentially interrelated, and there are regional parks and other places that are all contiguous to these parks that are public lands. And what this effort is to, yes, do a general plan for the state parks as a unit there, those, even though they're 4 different parks, but also integrate that planning effort with the other planning efforts for the other regional parks. Big Sur Land Trust is a part of it. The Monterey Peninsula Regional Park System is a part of it, and others. And if we can do this right, then we have some really good regional benefits. And any trail planning, any parking, people movement, all of those considerations are done with a regional focus rather than a singular park focus. So instead of looking just within the boundaries of a park, we're getting them to look beyond and understand broader community impacts, how all the parks interrelate, what the transportation needs are, what some of the limitations are. And this allows us to pull Caltrans into the question, because Highway 1 bisects a number of these properties, and it's a very important access area. And Caltrans needs to do some work and be a willing partner, whether it's pulling out culverts and putting in causeways for better stream flows in the Carmel River, whether it's managing even something as simple as left turns and allowing for parking, or managing the people who park kind of off-park properties but on or near the highways. Caltrans is an important part of this. So having this broader regional conversation allows us to coordinate all of those systems, all of them together, as well as bring in other state agencies to be more effective. Because a user, ultimately, the goal for me would be a user going down there using these broad trail systems, getting educated on the flora and fauna and the ecosystems and all. Any user is not necessarily going to know whether you're in land that's managed by the Big Sur Land Trust, whether it's a regional park, whether it's a state park. If it's done right, it'll just feel like this open space that's accessible, that's available, and that is being used to its appropriate carrying capacity, because we can love parks to death as well. And so we need to manage those parks in a way that we keep them for generations, that they're used appropriately and within the constraints of the area. So that's what that effort was with state parks down there. They're being very proactive. In fact, they've never done a meeting like that before, because usually they'll have a meeting once they've come up with a general plan. But in this case, they're taking input as they design the general plan, so that the public and all of these complicating factors are put on the table as they begin their planning process. So it's a pretty exciting opportunity.
Yeah, it is. And there was a huge turnout, which I think speaks to the fact that our parks are used much more now than they have been in the past.
And this is what I told the parks directors who were there. Parks and Rec commissioners who showed up, is that these folks, and this is true whether you're in Monterey County or in Santa Cruz County, these are your biggest allies. And yeah, they'll push back because they know what they want. They understand impacts. They know the local lay of the land. But they're also the biggest supporters of parks and open space and the biggest supporters of doing things right. And so even though sometimes it feels like they're pushing, which they are, everybody has the same goal in mind. And the commissioners, I think, really heard that, understood it, and were very open to what people wanted to say. I showed up for that public meeting. There was an earlier public meeting that had more than 100 people who actually went out and did tours of these parks. So folks were very knowledgeable about what the parks look like on the ground, what the implications are. They also know the area very well. They know the region very well. And great kudos to the state parks for being that willing to listen, engage, and design a process that will be, I think, because of that process, will be a huge success.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. It's something very positive and, as you say, forward-thinking by the Parks Department. It's always a pleasure to chat with you. Thank you so much. Assemblyman Mark Stone, the 29th Assembly District, is a Democrat from Scotts Valley and part of our public servant segment that we do at this time every week. So good to chat with you, Mark. Look forward to chatting in the future.
Thanks, Rosemary. See you soon.
Bye-bye. That is Mark Stone. It's 8:27. This is Good Morning Monterey Bay. Here's Rick with your King of the Hill traffic update.
Highway 1 North is clearing out pretty nicely around the Aptos area. There will still be backup, though, from Park Avenue up to Soquel Drive. Beyond that, through the Fish Hook, everything is clear. Nothing to tell you about over Highway 17. Looking just fine. 85 North will be heavy, though, between 17 and Saratoga due to an earlier crash. 101 backed up still in San Jose from Capitol Expressway up to 237. South 1 to Monterey a little heavy in Seaside, and again approaching North Carmel. West 68 stop and go at Toro Park. Approaching Castroville on 183, traffic will be backed up getting into downtown. Also, there's some heavy stuff on South 101 between Aromas and Prunedale. Backup begins just past San Juan Road, but will be clear by Echo Valley. The weather outlook today, sunny, warm, 60s and mid-70s at the coast, upper 70s to the middle 80s over the hill.
I thought that it was going to be cooler than it is today, so I wore long sleeves, so that was really...
Well, I mean, maybe, but 84 in Boulder Creek, it's still going to be pretty nice. We've got a lot of microclimates sprung up because on Sunday we had dinner with some family in Soquel. It was freezing there. Of course it wasn't. It was like 65. But it was 85 in the driveway where we were. Now, not so much outside, but that was kind of the ambient, residual heat.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You do get that. I just going from my house in Ben Lomond, coming here, or going down to Watsonville as I did on the weekend, was just a big difference altogether. It always amazes me how much of a difference, sometimes as much as 25 degrees, which is crazy. I mean, that's obviously not going to be today, but it just happens like that sometimes. Coming up in about 10-15 minutes or so, Barry Holtzclaw from the Scotts Valley Press Banner is going to be joining me, and he was at the meeting last evening for the water department in the San Lorenzo Valley. He knows all of the ins and outs, and we're going to talk about it and get a chat with him firsthand as to what he saw last night. So that's coming up in about 15.
Right now it's 8:30 with your local news. Here's Tavia Avila.
Thank you, Rick. A woman who was involved in the death of a Google executive on board his boat in the Santa Cruz harbor has been arrested by ICE agents. Alex Tickelman, also known as a harbor hooker and the call girl killer, was arrested by ICE agents when she was released from Santa Cruz County Jail. Tickelman, who is a Canadian, is now in federal custody. Hollister police officers are investigating a shooting that took place in their city yesterday afternoon. The 1 p.m. incident took place on the 500 block of San Benito Street. No injuries were reported, but some property was damaged. The former owner of the Brookdale Lodge on Highway 9 in Brookdale was sentenced yesterday to 4 years in prison in order to pay $4.2 million in restitution. Sanjeev Kakar was convicted of wire fraud last fall. Kakar was ordered to report to prison by June 22nd to begin serving his sentence. A man was injured over the weekend when his boat suffered engine failure out at sea. According to the Coast Guard, it could take several days to get the 30-foot boat off Moss Landing State Beach. The boat's driver suffered a shoulder injury in the incident, but has since been released from the hospital. The Veterans Job Fair will be held this Thursday. Those planning on attending are welcome to submit their resumes for review today from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Veterans Building. Veterans are also welcome to participate in mock interviews tomorrow from 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. The Veterans Building is located at 846 Front Street in downtown Santa Cruz. This is Tavia Avila for KSCO Radio News.
To see the greatness of the Paro Valley, look to those in agriculture who donate fresh fruits and vegetables for second harvest to distribute to children, families, seniors, and veterans. Hello, folks. I am Willie from the Food Bank, and I would like to introduce you to the farmers who donate so generously.
Pajaro Berry Farms, Performance Food Service Ledgers, Phil Foster Ranches,
Rancho Elitos,
Rancho Royal Oaks,
Ryder Berry Farms,
Richard Umatsu Farms,
River Valley Farms,
Royal Oaks Farms,
Sakai Farms, Sakuma Brothers Farms,
Sandy Ridge Berry Farms,
Scourge Berry Farms, Sun Valley Berries,
Sunberry Growers,
Sunset Bay Farms,
TBF,
Third Gen Berry Farms, Thomas Farm,
UC Santa Cruz.
When you meet them, thank them for all they do to help us provide food to those in need. And by the way, you can help too. Just go to thefoodbank.org.
You can get almost anything on the internet except personal service. Hello, I'm Scott Bedell with Bedell Nelson Harbert Insurance, your allied agent in Santa Cruz. When you call Bedell Nelson Harbert, a real person will answer the phone. A real person will help you save money by packaging your home and auto insurance with Allied. We can even help you save on your vacation rental with the Foremost Insurance Group. Give us a call at 426-3700 and ask a real person for a free, no-obligation quote. We are the real people of Bedell Nelson Harbert Insurance, and we can save you money because Allied and Nationwide are on your side.
Every exam room I've ever been in my life has a sink and a faucet, but they rarely ever use it.
2 million infections each year in households in America alone. There are 90,000 deaths from those infections each year. There's a yearly figure. Not one doctor gets their license suspended. Nobody gets fined. It's just absolutely incredible. What would happen if North Korea and Iran were to send over a biological weapon and infect 2 million people, a large population center, and kill 90,000? It'd be war.
Don't miss Dead Doctors Don't Lie, the radio show, Monday through Friday at 12:06 on AM 1340 KOMY.
KSCO AM 1080.
Well, I see that somebody has just gone ahead. Kevin Ching, who works for the retailer Chow Tai Fook, has gone ahead and they bought me a little gift. It was
you a little gift?
Well, it's not that little, really. It's actually 59.60 carats, and it's a pink diamond. It's the largest internally flawless, fancy, vivid pink diamond ever graded by the Gemological International Association, and it just sold for $71.2 million in Hong Kong.
I'm sorry, why did they buy you this?
Because they knew I wanted it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did. I mean, look, I've been doing business with Chow Tai Fook for a long time. Mr. Fook and I are close.
Are you? Two Fooks in a pod, as they say. That's your motto, right? That's the Chalmers brand.
Yes, it is.
Where there's a Fook, there's a way.
Yeah, so there were 3 clients who bid for it, and
do you ever know who those people are? Are they all phone-ins?
Well, in this case...
Send my helicopter to place a bid for me.
Well, you know, ex-husband of mine, Peter Malone, was a director of Sotheby's. So consequently, I got to hear all of the... And he was at 25. He was one of their youngest ever directors. He was director of Near East and Far Eastern art. He was multilingual. And
do those bidders begin a friendship with him?
They
in
do,
a way.
yes. And when they are going to bid on an item, they ask you to be on the floor where the phones are. However, that being said, there's not always somebody on the phone, because they'll sometimes just have pretendy people.
Oh yeah.
To bid it up. But usually they know in advance just how high those clients are willing to go and how desperate that they are to buy it. This pink star was cut from a 132.5 carat rough diamond mine by De Beers in 1999, and it took 2 years of cutting and polishing to hone it into its current oval shape. So it was sold at $83 million at Sotheby's at Sotheby's in November of 1913, but the buyer, New York-based diamond cutter Isaac Wolf, defaulted on his payment. Oops. No, I'm sorry. I don't have $83 million.
Do you think you buy it with the hope that you can turn around and sell it for more?
You usually buy it because he's a retailer, Mr. Fook. Is a retailer. He sells jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
So he's probably got somebody in mind. Somebody has said, usually they'll say, okay, I would like to buy that, but if they want to remain anonymous, then they will go through a retailer. The retailer will add a little bit more money on the top for the purchase price, and boom, there you've got an anonymous sale.
I don't believe any of this.
It's true.
No. Like, I don't believe they're all legit, like you mentioned.
Oh, they may not be legit, but they most of them are. It's a predetermined buyer who wants it, and some of them who are big clients will go directly to Sotheby's so that they're not paying that bit off the top. But they say that you lose your anonymity. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. It depends on the situation. But the record price before this was $46.2 million for the Graf pink of 24.78 carats. So Bill Graf's family has been in the diamond sale. But the pink star is more than twice as big as the Graf pink, and its color rating, Fancy Vivid, is the highest possible grade on the scale. So it's considered the most valuable. It has no inclusions at all, and it is a coveted classification of a Type 2A stone, which is given to less than 2% of all gem quality diamonds.
Is an inclusion like a mark?
Yes, like a mark or a shade or anything like that. But
where do they find it? Does it come with a history?
No, De Beers found it.
This was taken by a boy, stolen from his home.
Yeah, probably.
At the age of 4.
Yes.
Injected with heroin and forced to kill members of his family.
The
price can be yours.
For $71.2 million. And you can bet that the auctioneer was relieved when he brought the gavel down. It's sold.
It's wild to think that out there in the atmosphere, not the atmosphere, in the galaxy, in the universe, there are planets or stars made up of diamonds.
That's right. And Lucy is in the sky with them too. So, I mean, it's all good.
It seems like it.
But I mean, I have diamonds. I wear diamonds, and I love them. And I don't care if they're worth something or if they're not worth anything. I love them. I think they're beautiful and sparkly is delightful.
With most jewelry, though, and I don't wear jewelry, and, it's never been something I've been brought up with, obviously. But isn't the story behind it a little bit nicer than the bit itself?
Probably. I mean, in my case, this was my grandmother's. So
see,
it's my
story.
My connection is that my grandfather bought it for my grandmother. Then my mum wore it with 2 other rings, and I wasn't meant to have this ring. I was meant to have one of her other diamond rings, but this one fit, and so I got it. The others did. The one that I was meant to have didn't fit me, and so
that's a modern Cinderella story.
They just said, "Here, you take this one." Oh, okay, fine, I'll take that one. But yeah, and I mean, I have another ring that I wear that has the first diamonds in it that I ever bought. My first ever piece of jewelry when I was 20, living in Qatar. I bought myself a diamond ring, and I took 2 of those stones and added them to another family ring and made a ring there. So that to me is a bit nicer. I mean, this is ridiculous. Where the hell are you going to wear a diamond like that? The pink diamond. It's huge, first of all. You can't wear any other jewelry with it because it's so big and so overwhelming. If you've got ugly hands, that wouldn't be very good, would it? Here, look at my diamond. It was $71 million. Oh, look, you got ugly hands. I mean, That's how that kind of thing is
like you
bandied
don't see
around.
nice earrings surrounded by a mouth with herpes, right?
Well, you do, but they don't take a lot of pictures of them.
Of the herpes?
No, of the individual. No, I know what you're saying. No, you don't see that very often. And in fact, the hand that is modeling this in the picture is
somebody got to wear it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they did.
So they contract with the same, in this case, woman?
It's probably a Sotheby's employee. But
what an intern.
Yeah. They had a good time. So, I mean, in the day, it was certainly a great place to work and very enjoyable. The stories and the characters in the business was really fascinating. I never knew why there wasn't a TV show based on an art auction house. Everything went okay until Alfred Taub bought Sotheby's, and then, boop, it went down the toilet. But that's another story for another day. Coming up in just a minute, we're going to talk with Barry Holtzclaw. He's the editor of the Scotts Valley Banner Press, and he was at the meeting last night, and we're going to talk about the rulings that came down at the San Lorenzo Valley Water District meeting last eve. Right now, here's Rick with your King of the Hill traffic update.
Northbound 1, it's a pretty good commute through Aptos, really just a little pocket of heavy traffic approaching Bay Porter, lasting the Soquel Drive. After that, Highway 17, looking good northbound. 101 is clear to San Jose, but not through it. Traffic will slow down in San Jose from East Capitol up to 237. South 1 to Monterey is clear, but between Monterey and Carmel, traffic slows down. Westbound 68, stop and go at Toro Park. East 68 heavy along Olmsted near the airport. Sunny today, depending on where you are, it's going to range from mild to warm to, for some areas, kind of hot. 85 will be the warm spot today in Boulder Creek, 75 for Santa Cruz, 65 for Monterey. We will have rain late Thursday night and through most of the day on Friday. 54 degrees right here at KSCO.
Coast Paper and Supply has been family-owned and operated since 1948. They have a wide array of products available, including brand name and eco-friendly cleaning supplies, paper goods, and compostable plates, cups, and cutlery. Whether your needs are for business or home, Coast Paper and Supply's friendly and reliable staff have what you're looking for. They even accommodate special orders. You can find them at 151 Josephine on River Street in Santa Cruz, Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4:30, or call at 831-423-3350. Coast Paper and Supply is a proud member of Think Local First.
Hey, buddy, it's me, your laptop. That's right, your little modern marvel of technology you've been abusing for months. Dude, we need to talk. Do you really think that those free PC Fix-It programs are any match for today's spyware and malware? Not to mention the NSA and some of those websites you've been visiting. Now, I'm not here to judge, I'm just saying. You need to take me to Peter and the friendly staff at User Friendly Computing to get me back into tip-top shape.
Tired of unfriendly computer support, slow computer, viruses, spyware? No problem. Call the friendly computer experts at User Friendly Computing. We take care of all your PC, Macintosh, and laptop needs. Mention KSCO and get a free $50 diagnostic. Visit us today at 505 River Street on the way to downtown Santa Cruz, across from Gateway Plaza. We give you a choice. Drop your computer by the shop, or we'll come to you. Call us today at 423-9653. User Friendly Computing.
Are all your computer problems mission impossible? Tune in to the next Hour Local radio show when Luigi Opido from Pleasure Point Computers will cover all Is Your Computer Being Breached questions Wednesday, 7 p.m. right here on KSCO.
This promo will self-destruct in 5 seconds. From San Jose to Salinas, Red Hot News Talk, AM 1080, KSCO Santa Cruz.
By the way, just to give you a reference on that story about the diamond that we were just talking about, it is the size of a plum. That's a very big diamond. That's yeah, here, look at the plum on my hand. It's a pink plum. It's really good. So, last evening, there was a meeting that was called for the San Lorenzo Valley Water District, and it was called because there was a need by the ratepayers to stop the actions that were being taken by the board. And this goes back to it. Elise, would you just call Barry and have him call in? Oh, he called in on the wrong number. Good, there he was. This was because of a purchase that was made by the Water District of a property in Boulder Creek. And that property in Boulder Creek was on Rebecca Drive, and they wanted they needed some space to move some stuff. They bought the property, and that property was then sold to the water department by Mr. Terry Vieira and his wife. His wife is a realtor, and then it has subsequently been sold. The question was conflict of interest or not, since he was a board member. Joining me on the KSCO Live Line this morning is Barry Holtzclaw. Barry is the editor of the Scotts Valley Press Banner. He has also been attending all of the meetings. He's been transcribing my discussions with the water department verbatim in the newspaper, and has done really, really great detailed coverage, especially on the legal aspect of it. Hey, good morning, Barry. Thanks for being with us today.
Good morning, Rosie. Glad to be here.
Not at all. Pretty good turnout last night, I'd say, Hart, from all things I've heard. I couldn't be there, but I knew that you would be there, and I knew the watchdogs would be there, so I felt safe in that one. But a big turnout.
Well, there were about 35 people there, and the room there's only about 15 chairs, so people were standing room only and overflowing out into the parking lot.
What was the general feeling before the meeting got underway?
I think people were the decision actually surprised people, because people wanted a chance to speak, and so there were, out of the 35 people there were 16 people that spoke. They 3 minutes each. They spoke for nearly an hour, and there were 6 people that spoke that supported the board. They weren't necessarily in favor of the appeal, but they just wanted to say that the board has done a good job, and one person said, "We trust you no matter what you do." But then there were another 10 people that spoke, including 2 former board members who said they should not continue with the appeal. And it's hard to say whether or not that had an impact, or whether the board had already made up their mind before the meeting.
Did they have a meeting before the public meeting?
No, they convened a public session at which time they were to hear comments from the public, and then they decided they were going to executive session, where they stayed for an hour, and they came out and announced that they unanimously decided not to spend any more money on the Vieira case. But the argument for going into executive session was that they couldn't discuss ongoing litigation in public session. But there is no ongoing litigation. The only way there would be ongoing litigation is if they decided to appeal. So they were. One of the speakers said, Why are you doing this in private? We need to have you speak in public to tell us why you're doing this. It doesn't make sense really to have gone out and spoken to speak in private about something, about ongoing litigation, when in fact the case wasn't ongoing. It wouldn't have been ongoing until they decided to appeal.
See, there were those sort of things when I had them here in the studio where they wouldn't talk about things that they actually could clearly have talked about. Eric Hammer led the vote, and it was seconded by Bill Smallman, correct?
Correct. Bill Smallman is the newest board member, and he alone over the last 2 months has consistently stood out, and he's the only one that's spoken out, saying that it didn't make sense to not only to appeal the case, but to defend Mr. Vieira in the first place. You know, the board last night, when they came out with their announcement, they didn't really say why they did it. They simply said we fulfilled our obligation to Mr. Vieira. There was no statement that they'd made a mistake. There was no statement of any apology. There was an affirmation of the fact that they were entitled to have spent $120,000, probably $180,000 defending Mr. Vieira. They said that the judge had ruled, and that because the judge has ruled, they no longer had an obligation. But they could have said that in January. If they could have said the exact words they said last night in January and saved ratepayers about $100,000.
Yeah, well, they didn't, and that still burns me, I have to say, as one of those ratepayers, Barry. Now, is that am I correct in saying I was reading from your website this morning that Mr. Vieira wrote to the water board directors, and said, "I want you to pay my fees," and this is the first time we heard that was last night?
I haven't seen that letter, but last night they claimed that there was a written letter, and that's a question I'd asked repeatedly for 3 months and declined to answer. I'd sent them on 3 different occasions multiple emails, none of which asked about legal strategy, about the case, but about things like this, like when did he ask, how did you get involved, and there was never got a response from any of the board members. So last night was the first time they revealed that there was this letter. I requested this letter. I haven't received it yet, but certainly if there was a letter, it's a public record, and they should produce it so the public can see the exact words from Terry Vieira and see if it was from him or whether it was his lawyer, and see the language of it, because there's a suggestion that perhaps when he asked for it, he said, "And if you don't do this, ... I will sue you."
See, I heard that
that
too.
never came out.
Well, I heard that myself. Since this started, a lot of people have been contacting me by email, by phone, and stopping me as I'm going about business up in the valley. And that's what I was told, was that he was going to sue. So then the question now is, will he now sue? Because he's now got the legal fees all in his own lap. It's not like he can't afford to pay them, but will he now sue the district?
I mean, ironically, his request in late 2014 or early 2015, we don't know exactly when, for the district to take on his conflict of interest case turned out to be a really costly gamble, not only for him, but for the district. Because he was proceeding under the assumption the district was paying his bills, so he ran up his legal tab with using the district's lawyer. Now the district says, "Goodbye, Terry, you're stuck with those bills." If I was him, I might think, "Hey guys, you supported me, and then suddenly you didn't when things got hot." And the district took a big gamble because they gambled that they would win, and they lost resoundingly. They could have made the same decision they made last night in January, but they didn't. The big question of why, multiple whys, were not answered last night, and they haven't been answered, and we're still waiting for an explanation for why they did this in the first place, what the rationale is, and why they continue to ask for a new trial even after the judge ruled against them.
Yeah, and that was what I was asking Jean when she was here. I said, "Why are you doing this? What's the point of this? Who's winning?" The only people that were winning, of course, were the lawyers at the end of the day. I'll be very interested to see what Mr. Vieira's next steps are and how this one plays out. I mean, if they I presume that the board could counter Mr. Vieira by saying, "Look, we lost it twice to the judge. On 2 occasions, we're not going to go forward with this because we can't win." And I'm wondering if that's enough to mitigate in a trial, but I suppose that's all going to be caught up in all of the legalese, which you, Barry, seem to have had a tremendous handle on in your coverage of this. Congrats to you in the paper. It's been really gripping stuff. It's local level, but it's super important that we function well at a local level, and they weren't functioning well.
Well, it wouldn't have happened without Bruce Holloway filing the citizens lawsuit to begin with. He saw something wrong. He was a citizen. He's entitled. The California allows for that. It wouldn't have happened without Bill Smallman sticking his neck out as a lone board member. It wouldn't have happened without ratepayers speaking up, especially people from Lompico. They wrote letters and stood up in board meetings and took a lot of verbal abuse from the board and from the district manager for speaking up. And your radio show, Rosie, I think helped a great deal. So it provided the tipping point, I think.
Well, I think we were all in the same boat, which is stop wasting our money. Go out and look at your infrastructure and start making repairs to that. When I asked Brian Lee, sitting right across this table from me, how much are you willing to go to? Are you willing to go to $250,000, $500,000 on our backs? And he had nothing to say. What's to say? they'd said that, yes, they were going to go forward, and now all of a sudden they decided to change their minds. I voted for Bill Smallman, and I tell you what, I'm really glad I did. I really didn't know much about him, but he just appealed to me, and I voted for him. And I know a lot of other people that did the same thing, and we'll see what happens in the election next time around, and we'll also see what happens. Mr. Lee just got his $12,000 pay raise after getting a C-plus rating. I'd like to have a C-plus rating and get a $12,000 raise.
You know, they listened to the advice of lawyers for 2 years, and they said they followed that advice. And then last night they listened to the advice of the ratepayers, and they took that advice.
Yep. So there you go. Win one for the small guys, Barry.
And there are still many things unresolved, as we don't know the whys. And Heinz may no longer be the lawyer. They're reviewing the legal counsel, and there are 5 finalists for a new legal counsel for the board, and the Heinz law firm is not one of them. So it's quite possible that Heinz may not be the attorney, and if Vera intends to sue, they may have their former attorneys being on the other side of the table.
Interesting turnaround. Well, I do appreciate your time this morning. Thanks so much for filling us in about the meeting and for your good coverage in the Scotts Valley Banner.
My pleasure, and keep up the good work, Rosie.
You take care now. That is Barry Holtz-Claw. He is the editor of that publication, and they've been following it along with us, and it's just nice to have a W in the win column, you know. Just, yes, well done to everybody involved. It is 56 minutes past 8 a.m. This is Good Morning Monterey Bay. Here's Rick with your King of the Hill traffic update.
North 1 looking good. Watsonville into Santa Cruz. There's some added backup now on southbound 17. North of Pasatiempo getting into Santa Cruz. There is some road work in the area. There's a full off-ramp closure of Pasatiempo Drive from South 17. Started at 6 o'clock this morning. Will be going until about 2 this afternoon for emergency repairs. So a lot more people are having to come into Santa Cruz, get off the freeway, and then head back north. It's kind of a complicated situation there for people just trying to make it to the 17 Pasatiempo area. Northbound 17, no delays at all through Los Gatos and Campbell. 101 slows down in San Jose from East Capitol up to 237. Highway 1 South is going to be stop and go in South Monterey getting into Carmel. There's also some traffic on 68 through Toro Park from Portola to Corral de Tierra, and 101 dealing with an accident just past San Juan Road. Traffic clears up by Echo Valley. Sunny today, 60s and 70s of the coast. Warm spots over the hill today will reach the middle 80s. We start to cool off tomorrow, Thursday, and then rain on Friday.
Rain on Friday. Tomorrow we're talking bonsai, and we're also going to have Elise join us for who knows what, because you never actually know what, with the producer's surprise. You know, there's a school in Alabama, a high school, and this guy wants to take his grandma. Bryce Main wants to take his grandma because he's asked her, and she said yes, because she never went to her own.
Sounds good, but I'm sensing a but.
Yep. They say nope. All prom guests have to be under the age of 20 for safety reasons.
Yeah, we're a great country. We're so free.
What is that? What is this? His grandma wants to go.
Yeah, you know, she's got all that Viagra lying around.
I mean, this is just...
She'll have the most microfiber wipes, probably some lens cleaner.
She'll smell of talcum powder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she'll probably have a very cute dress, and her hair will be done, and her eyes will be all sparkly. But no, she can't go to the prom. Apparently, the kids are pushing with the hashtag Let Granny Go to Prom on social media, but the school is saying
Once
no.
an ugly duckling, always an ugly duckling.
If I was him, I would not go to the prom. If I were the other kids...
Host your own. Didn't all the high school students tell us over the years that they all had, like, pre-prom that was more fun anyway, or post-prom?
Yes, they do have. They have said that in the past. So
in the past.
Well, we haven't had anybody say it this year yet.
I just want to make sure you're not like, oh, no one currently that they could tie to.
Anyway, she should go to the prom.
They can have a breathalyzer? I don't know. They do.
No, I know they do here, but they're not going to breathalyze a grandma, are they? Well, she's not allowed to go, so what the hell. Have your own prom, Bryce. Take grandma and have a good time.
How old's Bryce again?
He's 18.
That's a good dude right there.
Yeah, he is. You're right. See you tomorrow. This is KSCO Santa Cruz. Bye.
CBS News. I'm Steve Kaith, and there's a renewed Republican effort on a health care bill. CBS's Steve Dorsey is in Washington.
With the help of Vice President Mike Pence, who huddled with moderate and hard-right Republicans on Capitol Hill Monday, House Speaker Paul Ryan says his party is moving towards consensus on health care reform.
The Vice President has been instrumental in bringing together different groups from our conference to talk about concepts. So right now, we're just at that conceptual stage.
A proposal from the White House allows states to apply for federal waivers for some Obamacare coverage requirements, but many Republicans are reluctant to move quickly to vote on a new bill. Steve Dorsey, CBS News, Washington.
At a Washington event with major CEOs, President